Уважаемые участники, дамы и господа, здравствуйте.
Distinguished participants, ladies and gentlemen, hello. I suggest that we start. The recording is on. Just in case, we'd like to remind you that this event is happening in two languages, in English and Russian. You can listen to the simultaneous interpretation. At the bottom of your screen, you have this globe icon. Click on it and choose the language you wish to use. I will ask the tech support to remove the on-screen announcements.
Здравствуйте еще раз.
Hello again. Welcome to the pitching of the projects of the Central Asian Script Lab, briefly called CASL. And this is a UNESCO project to strengthen movie-making industries in Central Asia with the support by the government of the Republic of Korea. My name is Majer Masanov. Today I will be able to listen to several young people from the region of Central Asia, Kazakhstan, Kyrgyzstan, Tajikistan, and Uzbekistan, who in spring of this year were selected from even greater number of people or applicants. And over the past 6 months, they worked on their script ideas, project ideas, together with each other, and also with our trainers team who helped them out on this whole process. The whole project was happening in the online format, just as today's meeting, the global context of pandemics that is still having an impact on us. Just would like to remind you that UNESCO Almaty Bureau is having this project as a pilot. As far as we know, this format has been used for the first time in this region. Kind of hope that it will form the basis for the future cooperation, not just for the young specialists participating in it, but it will also be supported at the high level and will probably be continued on a regular basis. I suggest that we continue because we're having the very active program, lots of presentations to go through. Before I tell you a few words about the rules and before we start the pitching process, I'd like to give the floor to the director of the Almaty UNESCO Cluster Bureau, Ms. Krista Pickett. Over to you. Majer, thank you very much. Hope you can hear and see me. I'm going to be speaking English.
Distinguished jury members, dear participants, colleagues and partners, very happy to greet you on the occasion of the pitching session that we organize as part of our Central Asian Scriptwriting Lab in the framework of our project Strengthening the Film Industry in Central Asia. That, as Majer said, has been financially supported by the Ministry of Culture, Sports and Tourism of the Republic of Korea. So, of course, due acknowledgement for the support provided to us. This project has allowed UNESCO to actually make a contribution to the strengthening of the film industries in Central Asia, in particular by investing our time and expertise and mobilizing partners in support of the building of capacities of young filmmakers in the region. It is highly symbolic that we have been able to work on such a project in 2021. As you may know, the year 2021 has been proclaimed by the United Nations as the International Year of Creative Economy for Sustainable Development. And of course, it's known to everyone that cultural and creative industries is one of the sectors that provides the biggest number of jobs to the young people, including or in particular women worldwide. And of course, given the fact that in Central Asia, young people constitute more than 50, in some countries even 60% of the population, Of course, the support to the development of creative industries is a very important means for us to support also the development, sustainable development of the region. So as Majer explained, this meeting today is organized within the section of our project, Central Asian Scriptwriting Lab, that we have worked on over the past 6 months now, and where in the framework of which we have been able to work with 19 young talented people, men and women from Central Asia. And I would also like to acknowledge, of course, our experts and trainers who have led, steered and guided the young people in this framework. It's Mr. Dmitry Popov from Germany, Mrs. Yulia Levitskaya from Kazakhstan, Mrs. Erke Chumakmatova from Kyrgyzstan, Mr. Iskandar Usmanov from Tajikistan, and Mrs. Saudat Ismailova from Uzbekistan. A huge thanks to all the trainers for their patience, for their time and dedication, for having shared their knowledge and expertise and accompanied these young people in some cases, along the first path or the first steps that they make on the path of filmmaking in Central Asia. For today, we have also gathered a very distinguished panel of jury members, and I would also like to thank Ms. Birgit Boimers, Mr. Matthew Taraz, Mr. Benjamin Illos, and Mr. Jung-Woo Kim and Giorgio Ovashvili for having accepted our invitation and for their willingness to support the future of Central Asian cinema. So as I said, we will have the pleasure to get acquainted of the scripts of 19 young men and women from Kazakhstan, Kyrgyzstan, on which they have then worked over the past 6 months, accompanied by our experts. So I hope that you will find these scripts fascinating, innovative, appealing, and I would also, of course, like to pay tribute to all these young people who have made time available over the past months to work with us and to go to this journey of discovering the filmmaking and becoming better and strengthening their skills in script writing. We know that it has been challenging for many of you, to do that on the margins of your daily works, film shootings, or other activities. And of course, the fact that we have been obliged to work online hasn't facilitated that. So big thanks also to our young participants. I hope that you found these sessions with our experts insightful, helpful, and that you have been inspired by them to actually pursue your professional career in the film industry, and thus I hope that very soon we will hear about you already on the screens and in the newspaper headlines. So good luck to you all. Let me also thank my colleagues from my team, Aygul, Majer, and Zulfia, who have really made the most to make this project and today's session a success. So once again, good luck to everyone. I very much wish that this will be an insightful and interesting session today. Thank you.
Большое спасибо, госпожа Пикот.
Ms. Pickett, thank you very much. I also would like to, complementing to your speech, I'd like to give the floor for the welcome remark to Mr. Lee Jin-sik, Director on the issues of the cultural policy, the Ministry of Culture, Sports and Tourism of the Republic of Korea, the entity that financially supported and backed this project. Mr. Director himself wasn't able to get connected online because he's a very busy person, but he recorded his address and will play it for you. I'd like to ask the technical support to play back this video.
My name is Jin-Sing Lee, and it's my great honor to congratulate you as the Director General for Culture Policy of the Korean Ministry of Culture, Sport and Tourism. Despite having endured the current global health crisis, the 7th KP-funded project, Strengthening Film Industries in Central Asia, is now set to near its final stage. The project's success is owed to all of your tremendous dedications to the development of the Central Asia film sector. For this, I would like to avail myself of this opportunity to extend my deepest gratitude. Last April, when I attended to the sub-regional meeting with Director Picard, I shared the following comment at the end of my congratulatory remarks. Central Asia possesses a long history with rich traditions, beautiful landscape and scenery, and fascinating tales. I can clearly see Central Asia's enormous potential in documentaries and animated films. Peter Drucker, the famous management scholar, once said, the 21st century is where the ultimate destination is the cultural industry, and the film industry is surely the concentrated result of each country's cultural capacity. Acknowledging this, the rich cultural heritage of Central Asia will surely inspire an abundance of new artistic works in the years to come. Having said this, I would like to speak on the recent success of the Korean TV series Squid Game, which has become Netflix's most popular show across more than 90 countries. I believe there are several reasons behind the show's success, including the captivating acting and the background music. However, behind these factors, I believe what really makes this series stand out is owed to many of the cultural elements in the show, such as Dalgona, Candy Game, Red Light, Green Light, and Marble Game, which are based on universal sentiment, including economic inequality. Just as we witness the international success of Korean content, I believe that the Central Asia region is soon to become more prolific generators of new masterpieces in film production across a broad range of fields, including documentaries and animated films, by harmonizing great nature, beautiful traditions, and great history of the Central Asia with outstanding scripts. For example, The Gift to Stalin, which was the opening film of the 13th Busan International Film Festival, directed by Rustem Abdullashev, attracted Korean audience attention. The film moved the audience by presenting the regional magnificent nature while showing the friendship between an old man and old boy who are suffering from the cruel reality of depopulations. This is because in past centuries, ethnic Koreans endured similar experience of depopulations, with more than 200,000 overseas Koreans being displaced from their homes to a familiar place. They were able to survive thanks to the kindness of many locals in the Central Asian regions. Owing to this shared history, the film made me feel like the Central Asia and Koreans are connected together. The year 2022 marks the the 30th anniversary of diplomatic ties between the Republic of Korea and the Central Asia countries. The Korean government is doing its utmost to promote friendship and cultural exchanges. So we ask for your support. As the Director General of the Ministry of Culture, Sport and Tourism, I hope what we learn through completing the course will support your career. I wish you the best and look forward to enjoying your films in Korea one day. Also, I would like to say thank you to UNESCO for its effort to promote and enhance cultural diversity. In commemoration of the International Year of Creative Economy, I look to the future with great anticipation for continued cooperative ties between Central Asia and the Republic of Korea. Thank you. Honorable Director of UNESCO Almaty Office, Krista Pika, distinguished UNESCO officials, and all participants who complete the course, even during difficult situations. My name is Jin-Sing Lee, and it's my great honor to congratulate you as the Director General for Culture Policy of the Korean Ministry of Culture, Sport and Tourism. Despite having endured the current global health crisis.
Большое спасибо.
Thank you very much. As it's been mentioned, we are going to have 19 presentations. Let me say a few words about the format. Our students will be speaking in the alphabetical order, in English alphabetical order. Let me remind you that each of the speakers will have 5 minutes to pitch. In parallel, we'll also be showing the timer on the screen. As you start your pitch, you will see the timer. And after this, the jury members will have 5 more minutes to ask some clarification questions or express any comments, should they have any. And after this, we'll move on to the next presentation, because we're having lots of participants. The program is quite extensive. We cannot allow any more time for this. But the members of the jury, they already seen the written versions of these presentations. They had the opportunity to look through these several weeks in advance. After these presentations, our international jury and Ms. Krista Pickett mentioned those people. I'd like to thank you again for your participation. They will select 3 winners of the project, first place, second place, third place. And the jury, these are people of the highest qualification, includes the cinema researchers, cinema specialists, cinema critics, producers who select movies and projects for the most prestigious international movie festivals, and also people who shoot movies themselves, who also participate in various competitions and also have been winners of those competitions and have the practical experience. I just would like to tell you that the jury has no particular instructions to choose winners. So we gave the jury the special table to use basically to judge the participants based on the greatest number of criteria. They will be able to choose the winners based on their own logic. After the finish the presentation, we'll create a separate Zoom conference where they will be able to meet and discuss the way the pitching has gone. Hopefully 1 hour will be enough for them. In conclusion, all of the participants will receive the certificates about the lab participation. We'll also like to shoot a few videos. Hopefully, they will be able to strengthen your professional approaches, your summary, and make you a bit more attractive on the professional market, both this region and globally.
We are also planning that 3 best winners will go to Moscow to participate in a big international event, which is called Moscow Global Cinema Forum, which is intended for all CIS countries, where they will be able to establish new professional contacts. And however, in Moscow, they introduced new COVID-19 restrictions. Therefore, we are waiting now for their further instructions and for their further guidance on whether or not it will be feasible. And we'll keep you posted. In addition to the jury, there are also representatives of various movie studios. They have their own professional opinions. They have their own interests on the work here in our region. Therefore, if somebody upon completion of your presentation would like to work with some of the participants of our laboratory, whether they will be winners or not, on the projects that will be represented today or any other projects, with great pleasure, we are going to provide our support to make sure that your contacts will be established. For us, potential co-production between our region and the representatives of the Laboratory of Professional excellence and foreign colleagues probably will be the most significant and the most valuable result of our project. And here I would like now to get down to pitching of our projects, and I would like to wish our jury as well as our spectators very pleasant listening, and I'm also wishing everybody a lot of success. Therefore, let's now stick to our agenda. The first presenter will be Mr. Amantai Saritoka, and his project is called Blueprint, and he is representing the Republic of Kazakhstan. You will have only 5 minutes, and as soon as you will start talking, the timer will be on, and I would like our technical support team to be ready for this. And then the next one will be Mr. Anwar Anartayev. Please, Sarikata, the floor is yours. Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Saritoka, and I can boast of the fact that I am the scholar, the student of Nikolai Popov, and I work in a Good Comics studio as a scriptwriter, and I'm trying to learn a little bit more about various departments of script writing. And now let's talk about my story. It's a thriller and a drama. It is of 90 or 110 minutes, so it's a long movie. It's a feature movie which will be produced in Kazakhstan, both in Russian and in Kazakh. And when being a fan of the Asian history, this story is written in the style of Kishuketetsu. And I am telling here a story about a guy whose name is Oljas, who is in trouble because he doesn't have any money, and he's bankrupt, and therefore they were beaten up by the criminals. Oljas would like to take a revenge on these people, and finally the person is found. His name is Kirei. Kirei is a veterinary, and Oljas is actually telling him a story that the guy Ashat, who was killed, was actually his son. So this is a very short description of my story, and everything is taking place, and the movie is shot at the background of our very nice landscape and our nice nature. And I wanted to tell you the story of our life in the remote rural areas in auls, and it's in the style of Kishuketetsu, Korean style. It's like the work of Parasites, and I also picked up Christopher Nolan Juncker. And initially, I've seen in my story Korean actors, Steve Yano and Chi Min-shiku. And it will be shot in Karkaralinsk, which is located in the central province of Kazakhstan. And this is the reason for which I picked up this place, because I wanted to demonstrate the beauties of our nature. Therefore, I don't have the dates. There is only a preliminary schedule. I think that pre-production will take place between 3 or 4 months, then 20 days the production, and 15 or 20 days post-production. The movie will have to be shot during the summertime, so it's right now in the stage of development. If this project will be successfully launched, then first and foremost, I wanted to demonstrate it at various cinema festivals, and only after that I would like it to be available in various platforms and also on the screen. And what I need the scriptwriter as well as the director of this movie. But right now I'm negotiating with one of the scriptwriters who was recommended to me by my producer. The budget is split up into 4 parts, and I'm going to spend this money on pre-production, production, post-production, and development. And the value is $300,000. And finally, I would like to also to add that Central Asia should make a leap forward to the feature films, feature movies, and I believe that this genre will actually contribute to it, because I was trying to fill my soul with every sentence of this film. And I would like to say that when I was a young kid, I really was traumatized a lot, and this is the reason for which I have decided to reflect not only the burning issues of Kazakhstan, such as, for example, bullying among the children and corruption. And of course, I was always envious of the Koreans and the Americans, because they were very skillfully demonstrating the beauties of their landscapes and their nature. And this is the reason for which I decided why not to do it for Kazakhstan. This is it for me. And thank you very much for your attention. Thank you very much. Now, before I would like to give the floor to our jury for various questions. Mr. Illis said that he's got some problems with simultaneous interpretation. Mr. Illis, do you hear simultaneous interpretation?
It looks like a globe.
Pardon?
Like a globe is a round button, and you will have an opportunity to hear us. Actually,
I think maybe it should be activated. I can't find it.
Benjamin?
Ouais.
I will speak in French too.
Je t'en prie.
Il y a toute la barre des boutons. Il y a participants, discuter, partager l'écran, enregistrer, lever la main.
Parfait, ça y est, trouvé, absolument.
Anglais. Fine?
Impeccable, ouais. Autant pour moi, sorry about that.
Да, спасибо.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, it was really very unexpected, and I'm so sorry to Saritoka, because unfortunately one of the jury members did not hear the interpretation. Are there any questions from the jury to our participant? Since we don't have a lot of time, therefore, please unmute your mic if you want to ask a question. If otherwise, let's shift to the next presentation right away.
A very brief question on the idea that the director has here about the driving force behind the story. Is it a kind of a situation, or is it the characters that the psychology of the characters that you are more interested in?
Наверное, скорее всего.
Most likely, I'm interested in the psychology. you know, because I'm trying to demonstrate, let's say I created a kind of conflict. Of course, it's a made-up story, but I added conflict into this story because I'm telling a story about a Kazakh family, and I'm kind of an onlooker. I'm observing this family as a third party, and I was putting down all the actions, probable actions that they could have probably done. I would say that it's a more psychological story.
Thank you.
Спасибо. Я тогда, Сартака, вас благодарю, желаю удачи.
Saritoka, thank you very much. I wish you a lot of success and good luck. And the next project will be presented by Mr. Arwan Amartayev. Please, you can start. And as soon as Arwan will start, please turn on the timer. Good afternoon, colleagues.
My name is Arwan Amartayev.
My name is Arwan Amartayev. I'm a scriptwriter, a director, and I graduated from Boris Yukhananov Studio, and at the same time I'm managing the production of documentaries in one of the studios in Almaty. And last year I shot the first debut documentary in Kazakh film, which is and today I would like to tell you about the road movie Protected Place. It's a story about a young scientist who's been living for quite a long period of time in Moscow, and he's getting back to Kazakhstan to see his family. And very unexpectedly, he's making a very long trip into the heart of the country together with his grandfather into his village. In the course of this trip, he's trying to think about the possibility of moving abroad. And there are three people who are traveling, who are hitting the road. It's our main character, his girlfriend, and his granddad. And of course, his new girlfriend was not very much welcomed by the family. And during this trip, the three of them are actually thinking over many things, and it is a real test for them, and it's a kind of trial. And what is very important for me are the details, the step itself, the peculiarities of the ancient Turkic culture. And at the same time, when I was working on this script, I was inspired by Andrew White and Chekhov's stories. This movie is taking us through very short memories and targeted observations, which are focusing on various very exciting events, and then they are dissolved in the routine. And at the end of this story, the granddad is dying in his mother village, and we feel very sad because this loss was inevitable. And at the same time, it was teaching us a lesson that you can't do anything against the life. And I'm planning to shoot the movie in spring. I will be using the static camera, which will be moving. And if it is moving, it will be moving very gradually and smoothly. With regard to the team, I would really like to hear the opinions from my future potential partners. Myself, I am very keen to work with the professional cinematographers from foreign countries, but at the same time, I would really like to present to you the operator. Her name is Aygul Nurbulatova. We were shooting my debut movie together with her last year. Aygul is very experienced. Sanjar Bayterekov, with whom who will be the sound engineer. And here I would like to say that I would like also to invite at the shooting ground to discuss the sound as well as the videos. I am planning to shoot unprofessional actors like Luc Besson used to say, the models. This is the reason for which the actor's performance is not going to be the key. The details will be the key. The script write is right now in progress. Dmitry Popov is supervising it, and we are also planning to work with Diana Ashimova, with whom jointly we work on the movie, which is called Hot Lake. Why I would like to shoot this movie? It's because I would like to kind of preserve myself, and I would like to leave my personal signature, because I believe that there are some places for every person where you can come and everything will become very clear, transparent, and understandable for you. From the point of view of the production, I'm looking for a producer, co-producers, and the budget of the production, first and foremost for the development. And of course, I will be happy to entertain your questions. Thank you very much for your attention. Arwan, thank you very much. Please, are there any comments or questions?
Yes, I have a question. I understand that it's a road movie with Darkhan, his girlfriend, and the grandfather, and you elaborated on Darkhan and the grandfather, but not so much on the girlfriend. So I would like to know basically what happened to her at the end of the film.
First and foremost, her relationship with Darkhan will be strengthened, and she decided to accept him the way he is. And she kind of was perplexed at the very beginning. She was baffled because she noticed that Darkhan is a little bit different, but by the end of the movie, she accepts him, and their relationship is strengthened. So if I managed to entertain your question.
And if I may, which one is the safe place?
Безопасным местом
A safe place is an image. You know, for somebody, the safe place is inside the person, somewhere in your heart, somewhere inside of you. But in my story, it's the mother village of this granddad, where, you know, your story lies in the earth. Well, I hope I managed to entertain your question as well. But of course, I would love to tell a lot more about it, because, you know, in philosophy, it is usually called the internal well. When you come to this internal well, and in the psychology, there are things like this. Thank you. I understand that there is no more. There are no more questions. So thank you very much, Arwan, and I would like to wish the best of success to you. It was Arwan Nartayev, and now the next one is going to be Mirzada Simbekov with the question "Lame Girl."
So my time's running, right? Well, my name is Masambekov Mirza. I'm the scriptwriter from the city of Almaty. I graduated from the Nariman Turibayev's script class, where I was able to write script for one full feature film and 3 other smaller films that were featured at the movie festivals in Almaty, Beijing, and Mariupol. So I had some experience of writing scripts for the massive scale Kazakh historical series. Right now I'm studying in Prague. So the movie I'm going to introduce today, the script I'm going to introduce, I did the shorter version of it with non-professional actors. And this movie, as I know, has already been selected for the competition of Batumi Movie Festival that is going to be happening in November. Now let's move to the movie itself. It's called The Lady with the Limp. This is the drama. The main character is the lady, 40 years old. She's a loving mother. She lives her own quiet life, trying to keep peace in her family. In my movie, I expose her family to a chaotic situation. Her husband, Nurlan, because of his fault, one of the guests dies, and there was a fight, and her husband used some force, and the person was ultimately dead. There was no one, and basically his wife is trying to hide her husband's doing, because she feels like if husband departs or leaves the family, this will be the end of it. But I just would like to show that the position of Aina, mother, that she's doing this, trying to disguise this crime, because of her family cannot be an excuse, cannot be any plausible explanation. So she's trying to remain a person. So what does it mean to remain human, not just in individual situation, but specific extreme situations that today's society is creating? So I'm looking at the person through the figure of mother, because mother's role is really important. My own mother's role. For me, it's important to understand what's the mother's role in the family. So the murder is never a simple act of violence or aggression. Murder is basically treason towards all of the human things that are in us. And for the mother who gives life, this is also well, being traitor to her own nature. But he's got this physical defect. But by doing this in this movie, a physical defect turns into a moral defect. The more physical limp turns into moral limp. So, but I'm looking at this character, this lady, not just at the single angle. She's a complex character. I'm not not acting as a judge, observing her life and doing whatever actions she takes. How bad those are, but there are also the high expressions of maternal feelings, maternal love. She sacrifices herself. She believes that she cannot do it in any other way. She can carry this burden herself. So this is like a quiet act of heroism, because you cannot really say correctly whether she acted right or wrong, because there are lots of people like that, and they're not totally bad or lost to us. So you cannot know for sure in every situation. You cannot possibly know all of the details. But in our time, when we having the devaluation of human life, that's when it's happening. It's what's happening. So I just like to say with this movie that the person never remains a person if he kills his own kind. This is the biggest punishment for such a person. So also, basically, I'm planning to do the movie in the traditions of neorealism, live camera, basically the live witness to all of the decisions in a short movie. I also would like to use unprofessional actors. I chose two characters, Belle from Crashing the Waves and Kabiria. This is from Kabiria's Nights. The movie location will be in the city of Almaty. Apologies, your time is almost up. Let me just say a couple of words. Location of this movie will be Almaty, with the old Soviet apartment blocks. The script is ready and there is no budget yet. I need the producer, operator, designer, set designer to continue my work on the script. Thank you. This is it. Mirza, thank you very much. I'd like to ask Some of our participants, please keep within your 5 minutes limit. Distinguished jury, are you having any questions?
Maybe I would like to ask a clarification about the person dying, because both with your written materials and with your presentation, I still don't have a clear understanding of how the person dies. So it would be good if you could explain it one more time.
Well, one of the guests in the family dies accidentally. There is a little bit of background that the guest already plays the important part in the story. He lives just across their own house in the building right next to them. He's got her own family, and the situation even gets worse because the guest lives in an apartment block just across the street, and he dies accidentally as part of the drunken fight. So because he gets killed in a fight. Through this drunken brawl, he dies. So between the main character and this guest, the second, well, character.
If I may, yes, I was. Is that okay? Can I talk?
Yes, please proceed.
Yes, okay. No, I had the same kind of a question as Matthew. Actually, I felt that the way the character was given, both in writing and orally, was very shadowy, and we don't have any detail about him, which probably would bring some more complexity to a script eventually. So can you just tell us a bit more about this character, about the family living next door, etc.?
Well, are you asking about the person who is dying or the main character of the story?
About the dead character. I guess we get that you want to establish the moral conflict within the household, within the family, but we don't quite see clearly what's, I mean, this disappearing person, which is at core of your story.
Well, briefly speaking, the background situation is that this person, the guest who dies, he works with the Ina's husband. They are very close friends. They work together at some place. The mates at work, so they're very close friends. So briefly speaking about the story, this is this person with a lot of inferiority complexes. Person who, well, in the script, the main character always observes this person because he lives with his wife. You can see how he always gets into quarrel with his own wife, or always blaming his own wife for adultery, well, for wrong behavior. And actually this time, being drunken, this guy, he's got some sort of hysteria because of being drunk. The Ina's husband wants to quiet down this person, and based on this effort to quiet him down, they just got into a fight. But before they get into the fight, this person is trying to express all of his concerns. He says, you have so many complexes, you're so unsure of yourself, you're so nothing. So you need to figure it out yourself, who you are, before you blame your own wife for all of these wrongdoings. So based on this, they get into a fight, and basically this guy ultimately dies, this family guest, who is also a friend of his name is Marat in the story. They are best friends with the Ina's husband, the husband, yeah.
Could I also add a very quick question at the end? So you have a character. You said in your presentation that you focus on Ina because it is she who has to make the decision what to do about the death. right? So it's her perspective. At the same time, you say non-professional actors. How is that going to work? And also in your presentation, you give a number of locations, and many of them are outside. From your plot and your narrative, I understand that this is a chamber drama. This is inside. This is in the kitchen or in the house. And at the same time, I see fields and factories. How is that going to come together?
Здесь я обозначил просто...
Well, here I just highlighted, well, this is like the atmosphere around it in the whole context of the story. This is going to be happening outside of the city, not in the downtown area. I imagine this, I'm trying to highlight the atmosphere and the actual set location of what is happening, the story location. Thank you. I'm sorry, I have to tell you to stop on this. We'll have to move on. Thank you very much. I'd like to continue. Good luck. And now Bizolia Bigbalayeva, her project is called Husband. Eyes it up, please. Hello, good morning, distinguished colleagues. My name is Zela Bidlaeva. I'm a drama scriptwriter. I graduated from St. Petersburg University. Right now I work at the masterclass, Mr. Arabov. I used to work at the Kyrgyz film movie studio. I'd like to tell you about two larger projects. I worked on a TV series called Pandemic's Generation, about the beginning of pandemic's impact in Kyrgyzstan, that was broadcast at the country's main television channel. And today I would like to offer your attention my project, which I've been working as part of the script lab. It's called Husband. This is a full feature movie about the love and religion. This is about a man who, after the death of his son, falls in love with his son's wife, with his daughter-in-law. He used to watch the collapse of the Soviet Union. He survived the whole era of banditism, and he only believes because of the accident he loses his own son. His name is Noran, and he falls into religion. He has a friend who propagates religion. So Noran wants to find some peace and quiet in the religion. Noran goes deep into the religion, closes his business, donates all of his money to the mosque, does the Mekeh procedure with his partner. Alina, his daughter-in-law, nice and beautiful daughter, after basically all of the men in the village become attracted to her, basically all of these men. Everyone can justify this as a religion that the woman always needs a husband who is going to be her protector. Alina can no longer be in this patriarchal situation. He decides to run. A society and religion dictate some new rules of life to both Naran and Alina. Cannot exist in this reality. Naran understands that he's got some feelings for Alina that help him to get some quiet in his soul, and he decides to run away together with her. The references to my project: Tomgari, Meteon Rose, Lekalapt, Krzysztof Silowski, Love Mood, Lonkarvai, and Narenkubat. My script is based on the real facts. I learned about story from my relatives who lives in some countryside in a village. One lady, after the death of his husband, she married his father-in-law, her father-in-law. So basically, after learning more, I realized that these two people, they sincerely fell in love with each other. So what were their feelings until they decided to establish a family? What I was amazed, not just story itself, but the way a relative of mine was telling it to me, like this lady decided to do this to her own benefit. This forced me to write the script to show that love is always beautiful and nice, regardless, and we cannot judge people for their choices. My main idea is to feel those little delicate feelings when you need to make a choice between well-established religious feelings and the love that is burning inside of you. These what circumstances must happen in the person's life in order to step away from the religion and choose love instead. So I position myself as a scriptwriter. I have the production executive and one actress who I'd like to use for the main character. I'm also in negotiation with some of the directors. My script is ready. What I'm looking for is for some producers and the remaining part of the team, the operator and cameraman and producers. So thank you very much. I'm ready to take your questions. Aizada, thank you very much. Distinguished jury members, please questions to Aizada.
Okay, well, if I may, I feel that your story could have been shot, I don't know, 50 years ago, as it could be shot nowadays. But maybe you could tell me how it would connect with today's world, with contemporaneity.
Это комментарий или это вопрос?
Is this a comment or a question? Apologies for asking that.
My question the first part of my sentence was certainly a comment, but the second part was how would you describe where the point of connection with, again, modernity, with contemporaneity? I guess again it's not a period film, right? So I guess you would set it in the contemporary world, and I have a hard time figuring out where, again, it would connect, let's say, yes, today.
Спасибо за вопрос.
Thank you very much for this question. Well, the contemporary reality is that in Kyrgyzstan, we're having the huge spread and propaganda of Muslim culture, Islam, as walking around. I myself studied at the Muslim Lyceum, so I just would like to understand, how do people come to this religion? Why they step away and abolish this religion? And there are many different people amongst my relatives for whom the choice in favor of religion is sometimes hard instead of their own views on life. This is basically the topic I just would like to reflect upon, which I'd like to figure out for myself. What is religion for a contemporary person?
Thank you.
Mr. Avashvili, you raise your hand. Would you mind telling us a little bit more about the final of your story? How does the story end? The story ends with the situation that Naran remains penniless, no money in the pocket because he sells out all of his property, and his new girlfriend acquires property ownership of his house, and he sees the only option is to walk away from the village because he doesn't feel any connection with anyone but with this daughter-in-law. She leaves the village, so does he.
Yes, maybe you can tell a bit about your cooperation with the director. I mean, you mentioned several people in the team, but I didn't really get the involvement of Ilya Nekayev. Is he involved in the script writing, or what is your cooperation? Have you cooperated before?
С кем? Можете повторить, пожалуйста, еще раз?
Can you repeat the name, please?
In the written presentation, in the team, there's Ilya Nekayev. So I understand he will be the director of the film. So what is your cooperation on this project with him?
Нет, Илья Никонаев.
Apologies, Ilya Nikhaev, yes. He is the executive producer. He mostly acts as the executive producer, the admin part. That's what he's taking care of.
So who will be the director?
He, the director, I'm considering several options to be able to find a harmonious cooperation, and now I'm negotiating with several people. Thank you very much. There are no other questions. Айзара, good luck. Thanks a lot. The next project will be presented by Rustem Tostanoglu, Taraz-Kyzylorda, the name of the project. And Almira Ismailova, you will be the next one. Good afternoon, everybody. I'm presenting the project which is called Taraz-Kyzylorda. I'm the director. I'm on the fifth level of the studio, and we are participating with many of our movies in international festivals. Taraz-Kyzylorda is a route between two destinations, and the story is based on the real story that happened to my uncle. Let me tell you this story. At one point of time, my uncle decided to bring his daughter, and he brought her from destination A to destination B, and he was drinking very heavily during this trip. And in the morning, he was scared so much because he saw that he had lost his daughter. So the implication of this story is that after that story, my uncle decided to quit drinking. Because he was too much afraid that he failed to bring his daughter from one city to another one, but as a matter of fact, he simply was too drunk. This movie is going to be in both Russian and Kazakh, and I would like also to tell you that it is a dramedy. It's we are not going to tell straightforwardly anybody that alcohol is too bad, but we are passing this message indirectly. And I would like also to note that we have already the director. I will be myself the director. The operator, the cameraman are already available, and the reference for me are the movies such as Paper Moon, for example, or Curly Sue. And in general, I can tell you that this story is about men who believed that he lost his daughter because he was heavily drunk. But when he's getting back home, he finds his daughter safe and sound. So, the implication is that my uncle was really very much scared, and he saw that if everything is going to be fine, then he's going to quit drinking. And when he came back home, he simply forgot that he brought his daughter home himself, and he decided to quit drinking. And also, I would like to say that now I'm negotiating with the actor, whom I indicated in my written version. And if everything is fine, I would like him to be one of the actors. What I expect is that I need a producer, a general producer. I do have a producer from Kazakhstan who agreed to support this project. Additionally, I would like to raise some funds because I would like to promote this movie in cinema festivals. And these events are dating back to 90s in Kazakhstan. That's the reason for which, well, I can tell you that the script is already available. So this is it for me. Rustem, thank you very much. So you managed to finish your presentation 1 minute ahead. Please, questions?
Yeah, I have a question. It's a bit like the presentation. You managed to make it shorter than the time you have. In terms of plot, I would really like you to give us more about the second act, which is basically to understand what happened during this night, because as it is, it looks to me as a short to medium feature films, because I cannot see the different events that could happen towards understanding what happened the night before. So can you explain, maybe give some examples of what happens during the second act of the film?
But Matthew, it is a
Во
short
время
film, right?
второго акта, то есть он... Да-да, это короткометражный фильм, это не помню.
Yes, yes, it's a short movie, yes.
Okay,
Во
so
втором акте...
In the second act,
so
he's looking for his daughter, and he's meeting with one of his buddies whom he hadn't seen for quite a long period of time. He didn't want to drink with him, but since he met one of his buddies, and he started drinking with him, and then when he, you know, he on the road during the trip, they they have seen a stray dog, and the daughter wanted to take this stray dog, but he said, no, we will not take the stray dog because it might be infectious, etc. So he was afraid that he made pain to his daughter, caused pain to his daughter. So this is the story.
Okay, thank you very much. It's my mistake, because I was sure that all the projects were feature films, and I didn't notice on the material that it was 15 minutes long. So just a question for the organizers, are there other short films, or is it the only one?
Je peux peut-être, moi j'avais noté la même chose aussi, si tu veux.
Рассказать короткую историю, в этом случае жизни просто моего дяди.
Yeah, for me, I don't know, you know, and for me, of course, it's a short story, because I just wanted to tell you the story of my uncle, and who was afraid that he lost his daughter, but as a matter of fact, everything was fine.
No, for me, it's a good news, because I felt it was a short film, so it's perfect that it is a short film. Thank you.
And if I may, you shot already quite a few short films, so when do you plan to gear up to the next stage of your career?
Ну, я планирую как минимум...
Well, I'm planning probably to shoot 3 short movies and to participate in the festival of H class, and I hope that I will be able to perform well, and well, maybe my feature film, which I will make, will be good. Well, at least I think that I'm going to work on 3 more short movies. Rustem, thank you very much. Good luck. Now, concerning the question about the total number of short movies, I will have to make a few precisions, and I will answer your question in the chat. Almira, your project is called Zumi, and Egerim Kukaraeva, you will be the next one, please. May I start? Good afternoon. Good afternoon, colleagues. My name is Almira Ismailova. I represent Kazakhstan, the city of Almaty, and I'm writing the plays for the theater, and I'm also the curator of one of the first drama festivals in Kazakhstan. And I am talking here about the trigger, because I remember the death of my grandmother. she was dying for a very long time, and I remember that my Zumi project is started with that particular story, because I remember that Zumi is a very talented software engineer, and she was testing the software applications. And several years ago, after the cerebral hemorrhage, her father cannot work anymore, and therefore Zumi, to provide for her family, she had to work as a waitress. And unfortunately, she had retinal detachment because of very bright light. And game designer Malik is proposing new work, and he actually decided to download the features of her psychological portrait into the game, and he's using Zumi as the lab piggy mice and guinea pig. And but she needs a lot of money for the operation. She's also facing a lot of problems with her disabled father, and of course she starts suffering from aggression. And during the strikes of aggression, she is misbehaving, she is attacking people, and she does not understand why she behaves like this. And then during game testing, she's meeting with some new characters. For example, a small girl who is asking Zumi to do everything possible to quit her presence and participation in this game. But the game starts manipulating the psychology of Zumi, and it reproduces some traumatological situations from her past. All these situations in virtual reality force Zumi to rethink her attitude and her situation with the father. And Zumi, of course, she would love her father to die as fast as possible, but at the same time, she does not want to be a bad girl in real life. Therefore, she's living through all this pain somewhere deep in her heart. And therefore, her main enemy in this game is Minotaur. And of course, Zumi will have to become a big monster as well. Therefore, this game is actually kicking Zumi out of the virtual reality, and she's trying to kill her father. She's trying to suffocate him, and at a point of time, her father is opening the eyes, and Zumi is taking away her hands from the neck of the father. But the father was so much stressed that he started talking again after cerebral hemorrhage. And this very cruel act of Zumi is actually putting an end to this awful story. Therefore, the message of the story is to conquer your own aggression. It is probably necessary to be brave enough to release your aggression, because sometimes our animal instincts are wiser than our ideas. So it's an existential story and zero theorem. Therefore, Zumi is rethinking of our future in the punk world. And I'm a scriptwriter here, and I'm looking for a team. The estimated budget of the movie is $450,000. Next year, I'm going to participate in the pitching to get government funds from Kazakhstani government, and I'm also preparing my applications to the foreign funds. Thank you very much. Ready to entertain your questions. Thank you very much, Almira. Now, please, if you have any questions.
Yes, if I may, I noted that you mentioned that you wanted to apply funds like Rotterdam or Fribourg or Busan. Did you think of targeting more genre-oriented project markets? They exist. Some are good. For instance, we are connected with Korea today. There is the Bucheon Festival, which has a very good project market, for instance, that you could try.
Да, спасибо за рекомендации.
Yes, thank you very much for your recommendation. I'm planning to develop my script in the framework of a workshop or a laboratory, and I believe that it will give me some additional networking opportunities to promote this script further on, because it is pretty sophisticated for its further implementation and for development. Therefore, of course, I need partners, and by all means, I'm going to look for partners at the script level and later on at the production level. Please, Mr. Ravashvili, you wanted to ask a question? Good afternoon. You are writing that your audience is from 16 to 25 years old. Don't you think that it is a very narrow, it's a very limited audience? Well, thank you. I'm sorry for interrupting you. But thank you very much for your question, because I decided to limit my audience because these guys and girls, I would say that the punk genre might be of interest for this particular age category, but I'm not limiting. Of course, anybody is free to watch this movie, but I was very much interested to reach out to this audience because they are brought up on the Marvel products, and I believe that this movie will actually meet all their expectations. And for example, if you take a look at the cash box of Dune, I believe that it is very topical. This topic is very interesting for them. Thank you very much. I believe that there are not any other questions. Almira, good luck to you. Thank you very much. And now Aygerim Kapgarova will talk about the project called Aliyah, and Azizbek Manopov will be the next one. And before Aliyah will start, I have clarified among the trainers that there will be only 2 short movies in this laboratory. And in one presentation from now, there will be a presentation of another short movie. Good afternoon. My name is Aygerim Kapgarova. In 2020, I graduated from the master's course of drama and cinema of the Russian Cinematography Institute, and I was participating in the international conference of cinema festivals of the Russian Cinema Institute. And right now I'm a postgraduate student at the drama chair of the same Russian Cinema Institute. And today I'm talking about the Aliyah project. The idea of this project actually struck me when I realized that the kidnapping of brides has become a kind of regular news, and very often these situations ended up tragically. I decided to develop this idea, and in the course of time, I actually expanded it from just one situation of kidnapping, and I started more talking about liberty and freedom of women and loneliness in a big city. Therefore, I'm talking about the women's or feminine challenges. Aliyah is a story about a young girl who right after she finished her secondary school was kidnapped because and of course she faced violence, but she was strong and brave enough to run away to a big city. And the story is taking place in a short aul, in a small aul, small village settlement, which is located not far from a highway. And Aliyah probably could not risk to take this step, but she was forced by the external conditions, and therefore she decided to escape to a big city, and she lives with one of her elder sisters with whom she did not communicate for longer than 10 years. And of course, for the family, it was a kind of big surprise, and she was accepted there. But unfortunately, the relationship in the course of time was spoiling, because Aliya cannot forget about this violence, and she is trying to suppress the emotions that are overwhelming her, because nobody ever taught her on how to cope with such situations. And the city is providing her with very simplistic solutions.
And finally, the main character understands that in order to cure, she needs to exert some super effort. The city that accepts her kindly first turns back on her. And when she understands that she carries a baby, then she feels like totally lost. But then her sister decides to support her. The support and acceptance give Aliya enough force to carry it all. So basically, Rosetta Bourdain brothers and Lisa Hiplin. Well, the movies can be shot in a static, sedentary fashion, static pictures to lots of people at the beginning. It can be ending with the open, free spaces, but only with the characters who have an impact on the plot. So I just would like to achieve the contrast move between the world of a small village and the big city, showing how the character changes because of this environment, and show the city as the main character, standalone character in this. The estimated budget of the movie is about 300,000 US, and the shooting period May through October, November time of the year when the story develops. Right now, the script is being developed. I have Act 1 and the final, which I want to reach. And this is the moment of transformation. This is something I've been working on. I just would like to find a producer who would be willing to help me implement this project. And we're having talks with the movie directors. I talked to Arwan that maybe I would act as a scriptwriter and maybe creative producer. So I can see some festival potential on this movie, and also the interests of the producers from the other countries who will be able to see more in this story. Aigerim, thank you very much. Distinguished members of the jury, any questions, please?
What do you feel would be the welcome of such story within the Kazakh theaters?
I didn't quite catch that.
My question would be, how do you feel this film would connect with the Kazakh audience? How do you feel it would be possible to show it in Kazakhstan, or do you feel that it's a film that could have?
Вообще, да, вообще я понимаю, что достаточно такая чувствительная.
Well, I understand that this is a highly sensitive topic, even for the Kazakh audience. Well, this might be of interest if the movie already comes with some festival background, and it might be really of interest for the urban dwellers, urban residents, for the larger number of women who feel the same problems, who feel the same, although these problems might be presented in a somewhat different format. But these ladies know the feeling. What I'm saying is really a bigger problem for us.
Thank you.
Can I also ask you a small question? Because when I started looking at your presentation, one of the components of your story has to do with bride kidnapping. right? And that's been the topic of at least a few films that I have come across. For example, Bossa Kim by Ernest Abdeshaparov. But you have a different take on the whole event, and you lead your main character into a world with a trauma, into a world in the city, and into another problem. So where is the focus here? Is it on the fate of a woman who has been abused, or is it on the persistence of rituals that still expose women to being kidnapped? So where is it the conflict between ritual and modernity, or is it the situation of contemporary women and the problem of abortion that is most important for you, if you have to choose between the two?
Well, if I had to choose between the two, I'd choose the second one, because I think that's like more relatable to everyone, and that's my main take, I would say.
Okay, thank you very much. Recommendation for viewing is, I think that my colleagues would probably kind of support me as a chorus here, is Audrey Diwan,
Okay,
the film Happening.
Okay, thank you. Thanks.
Большое спасибо.
I would like
господин
to-
Тарас, пожалуйста.
I would like to ask you, because in the written presentation, you said that if possible, you'd like to direct the film, but now you are not so much as confident stating it. So what is the situation?
The situation is, I understand that I have no experience directing, and maybe for the first feature film would be too much of an experiment for me. So I guess that maybe I would be more useful as a creative producer, and maybe if the film won't start before, well, maybe if the film will start after I get some experience in directing, maybe that would be the case again. Yeah, I just had a few recommendations from our trainers, and some other people who said like, this is not gonna happen, probably, most likely, you directing.
I don't know.
Okay, thanks.
I mean, the recommendation by Birgit, if I'm not mistaken, it's a first feature film. So, and from someone who came out as a journalist and as a scriptwriter. So there are many examples of first feature films that go all the way to Golden Lion in Venice. So it's not impossible at all.
Thank you for giving me so much hope. Thanks.
I mean, the Golden Palm winner of this year, she was trained as a scriptwriter. So, but of course she did a couple of short films before, but yeah.
Thanks.
Большое спасибо. Айгерим тогда.
Thank you very much. Aigerim, good luck to you. We're having the next presentation up, Mr. Azizbek Manopov and his project called Cities. After him, Ainul Bubarova. Azizbek, please, over to you. Hello. Hello, my name is Azizbek. I'm from Uzbekistan. I work in culture and cinema. I graduated from Icon to Chiefs masterclass in Tashkent. Well, I participate in various projects like in the Fund of Culture. I'm working on the documentary as a project manager, and basically it's going to be demonstrated at one of the festivals. Today, I would like to offer your attention my project called Cities. This is the short-term feature, the road movie and drama. This one targets the festival audience. Well, the main topic is the issues of ethnical self-identification. I think this issue is still quite relevant in our young societies here in Central Asia, especially for the younger generation. and including myself, of course, those who are being torn apart between the global and modern world, and of course, our local national identity and traditions. So this particular duality, that's what I'm trying to research by means of looking at the phenomenon of immigration, that people leave the countries. Some people actually come back. Well, subsequently, the main character of this movie, after the long-term stay overseas in the US, she comes back to Uzbekistan, and immediately upon arrival, she meets a young guy who's an architect who wants to leave the country, who's living in the country. He's supposed to make a presentation for the potential employers in the West. So there's a lady, she drinks, and he finds her passport, but he has no suspicion, no idea that it belongs to her. And basically, the place of registration, she proposes him to go to Samarkand to find the owner of this passport. They travel to Samarkand, spend some time in Samarkand. Of course, there's some feeling emerges between them, some sympathy. They both scare each other off and also being pulled together, and they look someone, and they're being met by the girl's father, who doesn't recognize her. The whole series of events, and this lady and the boy who gets beaten, the drunken lady and beaten boy. They lose their car, with great difficulties. They make it back to Tashkent. The young guy is supposed to take his project from his apartment, but he's lost his keys. So he goes to his presentation without the mock sample, and because of it, mock sample of his project, so he doesn't get the job. So this is young Jarmish, Fatih Hakim, and the Tight Spaces by Balakov. So on this project, I positioned myself not just as a script writer, but also as a director. The first experience of this kind for me, planning to shoot in Tashkent and Samarkand. And this is quite a straightaway story. I'd like to depict this with the well-designed visual images in the background, which will basically convey this particular atmosphere and the internal feelings of the characters when they go to the cities and they can find themselves. Well, I have a small team of the designer and the cameraman. I need a general producer, some help with financing this movie, and this is it. Thank you for your attention. Azizbek, thank you very much. Distinguished members of the jury, your questions.
Okay, I will ask then your question, because reading your project, it seems not a cheap short film. The budget is quite high. I mean, for a first short film, especially, and at the same time, you plan to clock it around 25 minutes, which will close it a lot of doors for festival exposure. I don't know. Maybe I let you react about that, but I guess you see my point.
Yep, I see. Да, я понимаю, что.
Well, I understand that this particular question about the film being too short. I think this is still. Let me be totally frank with you. I'm still trying to decide what kind of length I'm looking at, length of the movie, because there are lots of actions, and it doesn't really. The actions don't start. Well, there is not enough of it for a full feature film. I talked to our mentor, Dmitry, while we discussed this issue with him and discussed the possibility that this is gonna be a like middle-sized movie. But I guess I would like to put it into a shorter film. So I'm thinking about this and must tell you about this openly because we're still trying to think about those aspects.
Thank you.
May I? What the possibilities do you see to obtain financing for a project in the country? What are the possibilities to get financing for your project? How are you planning to finance your project? Good question. Well, I just keep on thinking about that. We do have the national agency called Uzbek Kino, and they support young artists, young cinematographers, but there is also, again, a few funds, some overseas funds, which also invest into some creative projects. So there are a few options. Well, I'm working to find some local producer, Uzbekistan-based producer, who is going to cover at least part of the budget or maybe the whole budget. And my second question is, you are saying here that it is necessary to get a permit for shooting this movie in some historical monuments areas in Samarkand. Is this difficult? Is this a difficulty because you're saying that there's particularly? No, I'm not trying to say that this is extremely difficult, but since these national heritage facilities guarded by the state, so I think I will need some assistance, some admin resource to get those permissions. But I think it's doable. But the shooting permits on some of the facilities, because they are historical monuments, because some of the activities happen at some of the historical places like the old mosque of Bidi Hanum. For that, I'll need to obtain a permission to shoot there.
Большое спасибо.
Thank you. Azizbek, I'd like to wish you good luck. Now we would like to have the next presentation, Aynur Mubarak, called T-Man. And Aydar Musabekov, please prepare. Aynur, over to you. Hello. My name is Aynur. I'm a scriptwriter from Almaty. I studied at the New York Academy, have several scripts for short films, and one full feature movie script, which is in production. I'd like to tell you about my project called T-Man. This is a comedy, supernatural, full featured. Once I traveled across the steppe and saw some poisonous, well, poisonous in terms of color, green-colored semi-truck. And there were some people. Well, basically, this gave me the idea about this movie. The steppe also reminded me about the religion called the Tengrian religion. This is a nomadic religion practiced by the nomads in Central Asia. All the Tengrian gods, they basically well, reflecting on some forces of nature. That's why the name, hence the name, T-Man, on Tengrian man. Imagine amongst ourselves, we saw some Tengrian gods and some other magical creatures, but we have no idea about this because the god of life again disappeared 100 years ago. So our gods just turned into regular people, and they had to adopt amongst the people and live this poor life. So waiting for the moment for the main character to show up and return the real magic to this world. But to their surprise, our character is complete loser athlete. He's 30 years old. He is kind of nice, handsome, looks like an Asian Jesus Christ with the divas habits. He's rich, he works as shaman, pretending he hears the voice of the goddess of fertility, Umay. He can treat any illness, but he is a complete charlatan, empty, total nothing. But he is happy with this. And once Ajnar, his young sister, comes into his life. She's 18 years old, but he hasn't seen her for quite some time, and she's on the last few weeks of the pregnancy. She just left her aggressive partner. He doesn't want to see his sister, wants to get rid of her, but then there is some angry woman covered with tattoos comes to him and says she is that goddess of Umai, and asking him to stop abusing her name for his own purpose. Umai used to be a goddess of fertility, but she became just a bartender. So Umai meets Ajar and sees that there is some unusual child in her belly. This is a reincarnation of this Tengrian god of Ulgan, who will return magic to this world. So she wants to help Ajar to give birth to this baby, because for the god's birth, you need to observe several rules. And she must be delivered to the middle of Eurasia, otherwise the baby is gonna die. So they also meet two other strange characters, just like themselves. The house god Boris, the dwarf with some phobias of closed spaces, claustrophobias, and some horny women from South Korea. So these 5 people will be traveling across Kazakhstan in a green buggy. Well, the the god of death, Erlich, who is now the mafiosi, he wants to take away this god that is about to be born. If this god gets into someone's hand, that means the end of the world. So our guys need to save the world, not by getting into quarrel with each other, going through some adventure, which they get into because of their own will. So there will be this little family, and our main character, Adelet, from the narcissistic personality, he will turn into the real man and will understand what does it mean to love someone. Of course, what I'm referring to is a Hancock, the hero who loves himself, and also the movie Get Good Intentions. Why I use this religion, Tengrian religion, because this is interesting religion that is totally unknown to the wider public. Tengrian religion gives you the powers to create new magical worlds. Well, in my scenario, it overlaps with reality, with the cityscapes, and I think it makes it unique. And we have the multiple co-production possibilities because I have characters from Central Asia, South Korea. So there is a possibility to do co-production.
I'm a scriptwriter without the team, and I'm looking for any type of cooperation. Right now, I'm negotiating with a couple of directors who are ready to undertake this project. Therefore, I will be really very happy about any cooperation, and I'm ready to answer your questions. Ainur, thank you very much. Distinguished jury members, do you have any questions to Ainur?
The title puzzles me. Why T-Man?
Yeah, I forgot to tell you that the T-Man means Tengri man. It's the religion that we are talking about. So T-Man, they are the name of this team is T-Man. They will call that themselves. I'm sorry.
No, that was a bit confusing, but I guess.
It slipped out of my head, actually, to tell you about this, yes.
Hi.
Господин Авашвили руку поднимал, да? И потом господин Ким.
Okay, sorry. Actually, since
you can be first. Yeah.
Thank you. I mean, it's not kind of a question though. I mean, since I think I feel like an obliged to ask a question because she mentioned some the character from the Korean like the fairy tale or something like nine-tailed. Because it was really interesting because usually in Korea we consider that the nine-tailed fox it's very young woman, but actually in this script it's like a 40 or 50, like a middle-aged woman or something. So that point is really interesting. I wonder this kind of a story. I think it's quite big, ambitious project to me. I think it's gonna need a lot of like VFX and then a lot of like computer CG, whatever something, and then my question is, it's kind of is it like audience in your country for this kind of a big project? And then actually, are you targeting a more like a universal, like a global audience outside your country?
Can I respond partially for each part? Yeah, thank you for your comment about Kumiho. Yes, she's quite older because when magic was gone, she had to get older. So I love this character. She's my personal favorite. And no, we don't need a lot of special effects because almost until the end of the movie, we don't have anything magical happening because they all were magical creatures in the past, but they're not anymore. And even our main character, Adlet, who is a charlatan, he will not believe them until the very end. So he's gonna think that they're all just crazy, you know, cuckoo. That what? She's pregnant with a god? It's impossible. But only in the end we have the special effects. I think it's like 15 minutes or so. And yes, I'm aiming for international platforms. I don't think that I will find enough funds here in Kazakhstan, but this is a commercial project, and I hope that it will be interesting for co-production and maybe streaming platforms. So yeah, I'm quite ambitious with that one.
Just briefly, just one mention. Actually, that previously the Benjamin mentioned to another project or something. Actually, I saw a couple of Jang projects, in this program. I think it's not. I mean, in Korea we have some kind of fund for this kind of Jang project. So I think you guys should check.
Okay, thank you. I will definitely. Yeah, that's why I have this character. Thanks.
Большое спасибо. Там, по-моему,
Thank you very much. I think that Mr. Avashvili wanted to ask a question as well. Yes, my question is as follows. How did you make a budgetary estimate? Well, as a matter of fact, I took advice of the people who wanted to help me because as a scriptwriter, of course, I don't know how to make a computation, but I've got advice. And this budget, of course, is conditional because it will depend on the country where the production will take place. And of course, we can either reduce or increase the number of special effects. Yeah, it's a very sophisticated project. Yes, and also you were talking about the dates. You said that the beginning of 2021, 2022 is also conditional. Yes, it's under the condition that I will be able to raise funds. Thank you. As far as I see, there are not any other questions or comments. Ainur, thank you very much and all the best to you. And then we will have the last presentation before a short break. It will be made by Aydar Musabekov. His project is called Turkish Tea. As far as I understand, Aydar is going to speak English. Aydar, please, the floor is yours.
Hi, everyone. My name is Aydar. I'm from Kazakhstan. I did my bachelor's in US in economics and my master's in quantitative finance in Sorbonne, Paris. Then I got internship at the Deutsche Börse in Frankfurt. The money was quite good, but I thought I don't want money and stability. I want to be a filmmaker. So I got a scholarship to study cinematography in US, in Europe through Erasmus Mundus. I did several films, short films as a director-writer, and my diploma film, which I kind of co-wrote, got to Talent Film Festival. My films deal with identity, morality, faith, and childhood. So my story is it's a drama comedy. It deals with the children who grew up after the collapse of Soviet Union. So kids who felt lost and abandoned after, abandoned by their parents because parents didn't have time for them. They were working. And during the time in 90s, Turkish schools, boarding schools were built in Kazakhstan, funded by Gulen movement. Gulen is an Islamic cleric from Turkey who promotes like this Islam and faith and dialogue, a tolerant Islam. And then the schools are built all over the world, like Turkey, US, and Germany, Europe, Central Asia. And they are not openly religious, but they kind of want children to get close to Islam. So in 2016 they had a coup attempt, and the president was blaming this organization movement, let's say, in the COPE, and many members went to jail, and the influence of this movement got weaker, especially in Turkey. I graduated from one of the schools in Kazakhstan. So my film is about this Yerjan, a young, very deeply religious university graduate from Kazakhstan who sent to Berlin to work and help in one of the schools. In there, he starts to remember his time, how he got to this school and how he got religious and close to Islam. It's divided in two timelines. Past in 2000 when he's a child in Almaty, and the present when he's in Germany, Berlin as an adult. So Yerjan is a 10 years old neglected child. He doesn't have many friends nor interests, and his parents are always busy, working. One day, these Turkish people come to his school to promote this boarding school where they can stay together with other students, work and study and live together and make a lot of friends. So first time in his life, Yerjan shows some initiative and applies and gets in. There he makes a lot of friends, and after several years, his friends introduce him to Islam. And he kind of brings Islam to his home, where strangely, it helps to connect with his parents. In his time in Berlin, he starts to question this, his faith and the movement, especially this inner struggle is fueled by him meeting this small boy who he has to work with, and meeting this German girl, Frida, who he kind of falls in love. My main references are Ida Polish film and the Hungarian film White Palms. They deal with childhood and identity and faith. And my visual style, I wanted separate, contemporary time is like a very calm camera movements, very contrasty, and the childhood is very warm and handheld, for example. The script is still in development. I think I'll shoot in 3 different locations, Germany, Berlin, Almaty, and a small city near Almaty. Budget will be around 300,000 euros, I think. I have a good local team who can help me and support me locally, but I will also want to collaborate with international colleagues, like a cinematographer, for example. What I need is a good co-production from abroad and money, I guess. Thank you.
Айдар, вам спасибо за презентацию.
Айдар, thank you very much for your presentation. Questions, please.
Well, as you mentioned, money. How do you plan to shoot this film? Because the scale of budget you mentioned for a film that would be shot in 2, maybe 3 different places and countries, it looks very small. So if you plan to shoot it as a very indie film, maybe, but otherwise it looks like you underestimated the budget you're planning.
Yeah, maybe I'm not sure about the budget, but I felt like I had even less, but because in Kazakhstan, I think it's not that expensive to shoot, especially if I get, I studied in one of the schools, and maybe they can give me, green light to shoot in their school and use, for example, students like during the summertime. And I think it would be even genuine because, I grew up there, I know the schools. I think it's going to be very expensive to shoot in Germany, I feel like. So that part, yeah, I'm not sure. I hope it's going to be enough. And Kazakhstan have some funds to fund, like, national funds. So maybe like a co-production with some part, especially I'm going to hire a lot of, people from abroad, actors, maybe, colleagues and cinematographer, I don't know. Maybe, yeah, I don't know.
Okay, thank you. No, yes, then you need a producer, right, at this stage, right?
Of course, yeah.
I wanted to know how did you get with the reference White Palms, because it's not a recent film, and because to me it's a better reference than Ida, because White Palms is about growing up and to be inside a group and going out of the group. So even if it's about gymnastics and communist times, it's a good reference. But I'm surprised that you know about this film. Can you tell how you got to know about it?
So, you know, I studied in Hungary as a cinematographer. So I went to this festival, like in a small city called Szeged, and they had this Oscars application from Hungary, which they applied during these times, and just was sitting and watched this film, and it was very good. And the then director came and cinematographer and gave us some workshop. And yeah, it was the story is kind of similar in a way, you know, childhood, and he's adult and he deals with his childhood traumas, and this I don't know like how he showed it. But also Ida, I think for me it's more about this woman who goes through this identity crisis kind of. He thought she was Polish and then she's not Polish actually, and he questions her face and you know this stuff. So I felt like this movie is kind of related to, you know, my theme. Yeah.
Большое спасибо. Полагаю, что вопросов больше не
Thank you very
будет.
much. I believe that there won't be any more questions. Haidar, good luck and success to you. Now I'm proposing to break for 10 minutes, just to stretch your legs, to have a cup of coffee or tea, and to reload your brain a little bit. And then let's meet again at 10 minutes past 4.
Ну вот мы
Okay, we just listened to the first half of our presentations, and now we have 2 more presentations to go. Number 1 will be Tanshulpan Nabikhanova with a project that is called Adraspan. And the one after her, Жанна Тулинде. Tanshulpan. Hello, my name is Tanshulpan. I'm from Kazakhstan. Because of the CASL project, I was able to do this work and started my initial steps in writing scripts. I developed a story of 83 people who come across the radical Islam. The main character, Gulzada, who lives with her mother, and her sister goes into police to follow the steps of her father, who died as being police officer. Being tired of the paperwork, she starts looking into the case of bus pocket thefts. On looking for the investigating one case, she finds her sister in hijab, and Azada told her that she got into religion as being affected by her boyfriend Maksat. She decided to check on Maksat, and he's got offer from the special services to follow this religion. They recruit young ladies as wives for radicalists. The whole story is the effort to study the face of women's extremism, what women, how they appear to be in this situation. The stories around the friendship of Gulzada and the recruiter Zarema, and the strong woman who pursue their own objectives and happen to be on the opposite sides of the law. This is also about Gulzada and her boyfriend. They are looking the answers to their own questions. And they also show the relative side. They would like to free their relatives from the influence of extremists in order to disclose of the storylines. This could be a web series. The whole story happens on the right bank of the Nur Sultan, and this is like ex-Soviet courtyards where radicals get together. I'm writing the script and I'm looking for the producer who will be able to follow the story, including getting permits from the National Security Committee and select the director and other characters. Thank you. Tanshulpan, thank you. We had this very brief presentation. Maybe any questions?
That was a brief indeed.
Oh, okay. Thank you very much. Yeah, we have plenty of time, which actually, when I read your project, I felt like there's a great potential to make a series out of it. And actually, one of your reference is a series. The reason for that is that because you have different groups of people, and inside each group there could be quite many characters. So I'm wondering if it's something you consider. Yeah, this would be my first question.
You mean you want to know about the references for this movie or where this idea comes from?
I want to know how the project developed, and in terms of format, why the choice of a feature film, and if there's consideration maybe for a series.
It isn't. It is pitched as 4 episodes of 30 minutes.
Yeah, indeed. So I was wondering if it's a 2-hour film or if it's because 4 times 30 minutes is it's not really a format of series. It's like maybe could be like 6 times 50 minutes or 6 times 26. 4 times 30 minutes. It's a bit in between, let's say.
Well, initially I thought about this as a full feature movie, but then as I was writing the script, I was getting more and more characters in order to be able to accommodate them all and disclose them all. Well, so far I only have materials for 2 hours. That's hence the format.
Еще вопросы? Господин Илос тоже, по-моему, хотел в начале вопрос.
Okay, so maybe you can elaborate more, because you say you have materials only for 2 hours, but what is your wish? I mean, in which direction are you going? Are you going to, because a serial film, it doesn't really exist. It's a series or a feature film. So are you moving towards a series, or are you moving to make it more compact, to make it a feature film, or you are waiting for feedback, like people like us to tell you it would be better in one way or the other?
Well, probably I'm still waiting for some feedback from people who can guide me, who can give me a clue in what direction I should move, what will be the best of available format. But I just would like to make it as a web series.
Спасибо. По-моему, был вопрос еще у господина Вашвили, руку поднимали, да?
Mr. Avashvili had a question. Well, this is my question. At what stage are you at right now? Did you read the whole story, and are you working on the story, or there is no story yet? So where are you at right now? Well, I have synopsis and the general structure of the story. I'm just going deep into the dialogues and finer details. Thank you. I assume we are out of questions. Tanshalpan, good luck. We're going to have the next presentation. Project is called My Name is Ra. Jana Tolende. Jana, over to you. Hello, my name is Jana Tolende. I'm a journalist, director, photographer. For 15 years, I've worked at various television channels of Kazakhstan doing social television projects. I have 6 short movies, and right now I'm an art director of the dancing theater Zholda in Almaty. Well, the project, my name is Ra. This is a story of a mother. This is about the fact that all mothers of the world are alike. Based on the example of one single Kazakh mother, I'd like to show the whole weakness and the whole force, whole power of women. Basically her search, her pain, and her religion, her faith. Well, I decided to use a mother with a child who has a Down syndrome. I think this topic deserves some special attention in Kazakhstan and maybe in Central Asia. Regrettably, at this point of time, Kazakhstan is not fully open in the issue of tolerance and loving humans, specifically towards people with various mental disabilities. I'm saying this because as a person who lives in Kazakhstan, so I'd like to show this reality using the movie tools. Talking about the story itself, Saida, it all starts with the moment when Saida, addressing God, she says, "How come you didn't give me a healthy child?" She wakes up in the morning and goes and sees a healthy child, but someone else's. It's called to the mama, but she doesn't feel anything about this child. And this is when her transformation starts. She starts looking for her own baby without accepting this new healthy child. In her search, she just keeps on back to her memories, and she realizes that she was really happy in her complicated motherhood. So the search takes her to the inclusive theater that exists in Kazakhstan and Almaty, and she meets Askar, choreographer who works with children with various types of disabilities, mental disabilities. This is where the story love starts, parallel story, the story of a boy who doesn't understand how come mother doesn't react to him, how come mother is so cold to him. So this is the child's drama. So as a result of this entire search that Saida is doing, she doesn't arrive at anything but back to her own self. And at some point of time, she understands that her reality changes, but she herself doesn't. When at this point of time she wasn't accepting Ra, she isn't able to accept this healthy child. And the reason is just inside her, not around her. And as she understands this, everything gets back to its places. So she goes back to her reality. The movie ends at the point that 7 years passed. We see the family, mother, Saida, Askar, the father. We see a 14-year-old Tara, who is 14-year-old, and we see that particular boy, the healthy boy who came to Saida from her dream, a 7-year-old boy who's been around for the entire movie. Right now I have the team, the main character, the actress, Daganay Talgat. I have a cameraman, music composer, so some people. While I position myself as the production director and scriptwriter, looking for a producer. The budget is around 300,000 US. Plan to shoot this movie in Almaty and some other locations across Kazakhstan. This is about the winter time. As we started this project, I came across one particular interview. This is the interview of the real mother living in Kazakhstan, Aygul Shakibayeva, who's got a child with the Down syndrome. This is a big interview, frank talk, and I realized that this lady is Saida. And there was this line that really fell into my mind, to my soul. It sounds like this. Aygul Shakibayeva says, quote, "Until we accept our children, our society never will." So I think this phrase really well shows what I wanted to tell you. Well, but the topic of the film sounds differently. For me, then the topic sounds like this. This is the baby with the Down syndrome with the right to life. Thank you. This is it. Ready for your questions. Жанна, thank you. Questions?
Well, then I will tackle that if you don't mind. There is always a risk when you approach this type of subject matter that you would, in a way or another, touch something that is a bit exploitive towards what such a disease can be, or such a handicap can be. How do you plan to, I mean, emotionally present the character and deal with it? Because it seems like the character, the way you describe the relationship of the mother with the kid, with the young Down syndrome boy, seems to be for him as a tool to bring her own realization. So the film seems to be centered on her own character, which again could make me feel a bit uncomfortable if you are not, I mean, addressing his own existence in another way. It's not really a question. It's more, you know, it's open for you to just tell me a bit how you plan just to avoid those risks.
Да, на самом деле я думала про это.
Yes, in fact, I thought about this, and I understand that Saida, this character, she's just the same person as we all are. And in the process of our life, we keep on changing. No one is static, no one is good or bad. Well, the audience can perceive Saida as an antagonist of some kind, as a bad character causing some emotions. But in the process, I'd like to make sure that this particular touch from all of us, well, regardless of the fact that this is a woman, but we are in the state of permanent transformations. We have the right to change and say we weren't right previously. Well, probably there is no particular answer to this question. As this piece of work is done and it's all accomplished, we can understand this whole line. Does it remain, or it just all to hassle? But at the end of the day, the mother comes to the acceptance. The movie should be in Kazakh, the dialects will be in Kazakh. It will show our ethnic Kazakh inner. Kazakh people, they talk very little. So these are people who are not really talkative. Well, there are certain points, but when she speaks certain phrases, philosophical concepts, probably they show Saida from her very depth. Well, it can turn out like this, but I think this is just in my mind. Okay, thank you very much. Mr. Taraz was raising his hand, and someone else.
No, I'm not. I mean, it's maybe a long question because I'm not sure I really understood. During the film, will there be flashbacks to the first years of her life? Because I understand the son is 7-year-old, and I cannot understand what happens before the film, in the sense that she seems that she doesn't accept her son. But she never accepted her son in the first 7 years, or can you clarify?
Там, понимаете, 7 лет жизни, он идет.
You know, the 7 years of life, this boy, well, you accept it, you live in this reality, but at some point of time, it was like a more of a hysteria. We show the people's attitude, and that her husband leaves her. Her parents are not supportive of her. The person doesn't break down right away. She leaves and loves. She's a good mother to her child, except for at some point of difficulty, 7 years. It's like in a marriage, you know, you live happily, and then in the 9th year, this is the key year, something happens to people. So this explosion of energy, there is a moment, according to the script, that becomes a catalyst of this whole expression.
It was like an emotional outburst for which she will have to pay sooner or later. And yes, these are the flashbacks. And in this process, we are going to show the flashbacks. And actually, we are trying to demonstrate how happy she was in her maternity in those flashbacks, because we are showing a lot of something very personal and something very intimate, like a love story between the mother and her son. And it's a reference. And I think that we are demonstrating very well the relationship between a mother and her child. And we see this love through the flashbacks. We understand that, yes, Saida was a loving mother at that time. And she realizes as well that she was very happy in her maternity. Please, maybe last question or comment, Ms. Bremens.
I understand that this is a problem that you explore from a humanist point of view, but it is also a perspective that, of course, talks a lot about Kazakh society. To what extent do you think this is going to have a universal appeal, especially within societies where people with disabilities have a completely different status by law and by practice?
Мне кажется, это такая, да, наверное.
I believe, yes, probably it's a local small story, but it is outgrowing into the understanding of what we are and who is by our side. And it is true not only for people with some mental or physical disabilities. I think that it is important for any country in the world. I don't know the way it happens in Europe, but I think that there is always room and space for some misunderstanding that we are trying to demonstrate through the prism of the relationship of people with disabilities and healthy people in Kazakhstan. But anyway, we all belong to the same world, and I believe that there are some relationships and interactions between those aspects. Maybe in Kazakhstan it is somehow different. It takes place somehow differently, because in your country, maybe it is more regulated by the legislation. And of course, this is the reason for which we wanted to raise this topic. Thank you. Jana, thank you very much. Thank you, Majer. Good luck with your project. And now we will go to another project, which is called LOM, and Khurshid Rashidov is the author of this project. Khurshid, please. Okay, so good afternoon, distinguished participants of the jury. My name is Khurshid Rashidov, and I'm the member of Cinemore company, which is helping actually to shoot the movies for the first national television channel of Tajikistan. And the first movie that I produced in 2019 is called Yaki, which is about the road. And actually the topic of my story is dedicated to the way the teenagers are becoming mature, and it's about Farhod. Farhod, on the way to his objective, feels a lot of emptiness because his father is very cold, doesn't pay any attention to him, especially after the death of the mother. And on the other hand, from his friend Azamat, who is not interested in all the let's say, stories of the teenagers. And this is the reason for which he's acquiring some new hooligans, friends, the friends among hooligans whom he was disliking before. And by the end of the day, one of his friends is persuading him not to participate in a mass fight, street fight. But unfortunately, he's dying of the knife wounds. And for me, it's a kind of manifest against violence in any type of its implementation. And I believe that we are going to shoot this movie in Tajik film studio during the autumns to be able to demonstrate the atmosphere of the dilapidated houses and people who live in the outskirts of the city. We have the theater actors from Mayakovsky studio of Dushanbe. The director, I will be directing this movie. What I need $50,000 financially wise. Technically wise, I need a unique sound engineer who will be able to help me to, let's say, create the atmosphere of the street fight, you know, the bleeding noses and people punching each other in the face, etc. So I need also some sponsors and the representatives of the international organizations and funds who are interested in quitting aggression and violence among the youth. Okay, Khurshid, thank you very much. We will have probably enough time for the discussion and the questions. Please, distinguished jury members. Yes, Birgit, please.
I have a question for you. What is the novelty, apart from the setting in Tajikistan, about the plot that you suggest here?
Я предлагаю, то есть, решение проблемы,
What I'm
которая...
proposing is to resolve the problem which is rooted in parents, because it doesn't matter how immoral the friends of a person are, if this person has good parents, loving parents who are bringing up the child, such a guy will always have a brain in the head and will never encounter this type of problems. And this is the reason for which I'm focusing on the father of Farhod. Could you please tell me, are parents responsible for bringing up a good person, or the society is in charge of it?
So who is responsible for making a good person? Is it the parents? Is it the person? Is it society? In other words, the question of kto vinavat, who is to blame?
Who is to blame? This is the question mark. I believe it's a complex measure, complex remedy, because it depends, of course, on the society, because every human being is the product of the society. It also depends on the person, because it depends on the internal priorities of a person, and it depends also on the upbringing of a person, when the parents will be able to say that a guy is doing something wrong. I wouldn't say that something is dominating here.
Я полагаю, что других вопросов, комментариев у
I
членов
believe
жюри.
that there are no more comments among the jury members. Okay, thank you very much, Khurshid, for your presentation. Now, Almas Siksimbai will be the next speaker, and he will be talking about the project Alma and her demo. Good afternoon. My name is Almas Siksimbayev. I'm representing Kazakhstan. Almas, we are sorry, but it's you have a very bad sound quality. Do you hear me well now? Yes, it's a little bit better now. Good afternoon. My name is Almas Siksimbayev. I'm a scriptwriter from Kazakhstan. I graduated from the High School of Economics, and I'm the participant of Drama KZ Festival. I would like to present my project, and my project is an animation sequel, which will be of interest for viewers from all over the world, because it's a mystery and a comedy at the same time. The story is taking place in medieval Kazakhstan, and is telling a story about a small girl who was left alone in a vast steppe, and she's under risk of dying of hunger. Aina is only 10 years old. She's very flamboyant, and she can fight if she doesn't like anything. She never had any parents, and she was brought up by her grandfather and grandmother. And the only thing that she remembers about her mother is the token that she has. Aina is discovering that she can interact with the world of spirits, and she decided to go and find her owl, and there is a big black dog who can turn into a demon in case if there is any risk or any danger for the dog or for Aina. It's a very interesting story. The demon is following the girl, and actually he used to be the brother of Aina's father, and the uncle used to be from the enemy tribe, but he really loved the mother of Aina, and then he decided to betray his father. The father and the mother actually died because of him, because the mother of Aina tried to rescue him, and then he's gone mad, and he started roaming around the steppe because he was really very sorry for everything that happened. And his way is criminal. And when he met with Aina, he recalled memories of her mother, and it was a very tiny hope that he will be able to pay back for his crime. And this is the reason for which he wanted to protect the girl. And during this search for his mother owl settlement, they were roaming around the steppes of Kazakhstan in the southern part of the country, and they visited various owls, various settlements. They were visiting different medieval cities that existed on the Silk Road during the medieval age, and they are meeting with different people, with bandits, with caravan people, with craftsmen, etc. And they are meeting also one of the enemies, ancient enemies of Aina's grandfather. So she wanted to learn more about Aydahar, about the mystery of Aydahar and her mother settlement. Therefore, we are based on the Turkic myths and legends, and we are putting together a plot because we would like to have a kind of animated sequel, which will tell us about their own story based on the legends and myths, and where we will have very authentic characters. And Avatar is the basis of this idea, or the Akuba legend, or a big fish, and Raya and the Last Dragon. And this project is currently at the step of writing a script. And this is the reason for which we really need a cooperation with animation studio who would help us to design the visual concept of the project for its further development. Thank you very much. Almas, thank you very much. You perfectly observed the time limits. Please, your questions.
Matthew, go ahead.
Very sorry. I'll be short anyway. I'm not quite sure I understand if. So you are looking now for an animation studio, but you have a script, because from everything you told us, it seems that you have a Bible of characters, and that you have an overview of what the universe of your series would be. But I don't see a storyline. I don't see a story arc for 24 episodes of 22 minutes, which seems a lot of stories to tell.
Да.
Yes, with regard to this story, now we have developed the Bible. Almas, could you please rejoin us again, because the quality of your sound is very bad. Yeah. Okay. Yes, indeed, we are planning to have a horizontal and vertical story, because there is a story in which Aina is supposed to save her owl, and at the same time there is a story of this demon dog, which will be kind of opening up in the course of the storytelling. Therefore, it will be a vertical story in each series. And then by the end of the story, we are going to tell about the relationship between Aina and the dog. So it will be vertical, and then the story of how she's saving her owl. It will be a horizontal storytelling line. Thank you. Okay, Mr. Taraz, please.
Thank you very much. It's not so much of a question, but more like advice or comments. I think that the project would benefit for you to connect to animation platforms, either towards Europe or Asia. In the case of Europe, there are some platforms like CE Animation, which is a Central and Eastern Europe, which from time to time welcome project. So far it was from the Caucasus, but it could also be from Central Asia. So this is a good place to connect with people and to showcase the project, because I think this is a project that would need this sort of connection. So CE Animation Forum and workshop is one of them. I don't know if my colleagues have other advice, but this is the one I would give.
Thank you very much. Да, хотелось бы.
Yes, indeed. I would like this project. Looked like Ms. Burmers also wanted to ask a question, but do you hear me well? I would like to say a few words, if I may. Yes, indeed. I really wanted to get support from a big studio, and this is the reason for which we are now looking for a producer who could be able to undertake a kind of administrative role in this project, because unfortunately I am not very experienced in promoting animation projects. Thank you very much for your advice. Thank you. I guess there are no more any additional questions. Thank you very much, Almas, and I wish you success and good luck. And the next project is Hungry Step, which will be presented by Tamerlan Shatrap. Please, the floor is yours. Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Tamerlan Shatrap. I'm from Astana, from Kazakhstan, and I am now studying in the State Television and Movie Institute in St. Petersburg. I'm in the second course. So my story, Hungry Step, is about a 9-year-old girl, Barhut, who during the hunger and starvation of 30th last century has decided to go to a neighboring settlement, and she wanted to go to an orphanage to relieve her families. Hunger and starvation. Now, since our nomadic people were forced to become settled, resulted in a collapse and hunger for which our people were not ready. And this is the reason for which people are using the term Hungry Step, because there are a lot of people such as gangsters, bandits, those who were stealing away the horses. And this is the reason for which this little girl, Baha, and her younger son, Isatai, who is trying to help her, and on their way, they meet with two cannibals who wanted to sell these children to the butcher. And of course, by the end of the story, they actually displayed bravery, and they returned the children. Why I have decided to pick up this story? Because since early ages, we've heard a lot of stories about that period of time, about the starvation and hunger. And actually, only recently I started rethinking this situation, because it was very difficult for me even to imagine how people 2 generations back had to eat their own children, or who were dying of hunger and starvation.
And I think because of this, I chose 2 main characters, children, when working on the script, and the audience in the movie theater, while viewers in the movie theater. I think we can feel ourselves as children who are completely unprepared for any troubles of this kind. That's why I just would like to choose this particular tone of naivety and absurd, well, to add the element of comedy to this whole setup. Comedy-like, even childish attitude, which is gonna be, well, which has a little connection to this time. Thank you for your attention. Tamerlan, thank you very much. Saved us a minute of the time. Please, distinguished members of the jury, any questions from your side?
If I may start then. I'm sorry. I have to confess I am not familiar with the history with the great big H that you are telling about in your script, and at the same time it even had accents for me of something of fairy tale in some ways, of a dark fairy tale for the kids. Can you please tell me just a bit more about the moment of history this story is taking place in?
Да, это центральный Казахстан.
Yes, this is the central part of Kazakhstan, the steppes. Well, basically, in our history, hunger is something of a disaster, because this steppe is a kind of a desert. It's a semi-desert. But normally, this kind of natural disasters can be lived through. But the hunger that was 100 years ago, it was far more disastrous. It was on a far greater scale. It was like a total economic collapse in our nomadic people, nomadic lifestyle. It was totally unprepared for this. Normally, like I said, with the regular hunger, we also call it jute. Well, when livestock dies, I think the livestock cannot get enough grass and they die. Because livestock dies, people die too. But this particular type of hunger was provoked by the socialist ideology, and 2/3 of people died. Well, hopefully I gave you some idea about this period of time.
No, I see you. Yeah, of course.
Yeah, okay for me to go? So I have a comment now, and then I come to my question. So my comment is, in the light of what you have also just said in response to Benjamin's comments, I mean, I think you should, in your proposal and when you pitch this, you should really get your historical facts right. because they are all over the place. You talk about the Holodomor, which is a term that we use for the famine in Ukraine. You don't have a proper understanding of what the famine was, what it did, what it was caused by. So I think you should really read up on your history of the famine in the early 1930s. Okay, this has nothing to do with the steppe. This has to do with politics and with historical facts that go back to changes. Yeah, so I think you really should work this up before you pitch this project again, because the historical inaccuracies, they scream. So that's kind of my comment in the light of, as I say, to the response you've just given to Benjamin. My question is, when you talk, it goes in the same direction as the comment that was just made. When you talk about the child's naivety and the references you give, one thing that would come to my mind here is how you deal with an utterly tragic and dramatic situation from the perspective of a child, and you turn it into a fairy tale. You turn it into a fairy tale, and that kind of creates a comedic effect. But I think the one kind of example that springs to mind here is Roberto Benigni's Life is Beautiful. So maybe you would kind of like to think in that direction. And why didn't you use that for your, why didn't you reference Benigni? If that is your intention, to kind of draw through the child's perception.
Ну, сюжетно как бы я смотрел. Спасибо, извините, что я перебил. Я смотрел.
Sorry for interrupting you. I watched this movie. Yes, agree, but somehow I was paying attention to some visual images. Well, I didn't get any connection with my movie. So in my defense, I'd like to say that maybe my knowledge of history is controversial. Maybe I'm not well educated on the issues of famine and hunger, but I think covering history here doesn't mean it's not about the precise facts. It's about the feelings of ordinary people who lived through this famine. And it doesn't really matter when it happened and how it happened. I think I just would like to show it, well, to show the feelings. Uneducated people, well, who don't really care about precise facts. Hopefully I conveyed my message to you. Thank you very much. Mr. Amashvili had his hand. Are you still having your question? Probably no question there.
Я просто хотел спросить,
I just wanted to ask,
чтобы услышать больше, немножко больше о финале.
Know more about the final. The final, yes. About the final of your script. Well, story final. I think the final is that I just wanted to have some good ending to showing celebration of life, and these two cannibals, after fighting each other, they either go back to their mothers or to the orphanage. I think this is a good finale. Good final. Yep. Tamerlan, good luck with your project. We are having the next presentation called Mountain Onion, Eldar Shabanov. Eldar, over to you. Hello, my name is Eldar Shabanov. I'm a producer and director from Almaty. I present the project Mountain Onion. This is a full feature. This is the story about the 11-year-old boy who lives in Kazakhstan. The boy whose name is Jabai. He wants to be a real man. What does it actually mean to be a real man? Some people around say men don't cry and women don't get angry. Jabai doesn't cry either. Even if he hits his pinky on the furniture, well, he doesn't cry. So Jabai lives with his family In a small Kazakh village right on the border with China, Jabai is collecting mountain onions, and he would sell them on the road. He also goes to the high road to see how truck drivers have sex with the prostitutes. So Jabai is basically kind of sad about the life. What he hears from the guy, Uncle Vita, he talks about the famous Chinese Viagra for the truck drivers, and this wonderful pill can make him a real man. He thinks about it, and then he hears some cry at the night, can see his father who is crying, and Jabai is shocked because the father appears to be weak. Father is not a real man. Jabai wants to help him. He runs to Uncle Vita to ask for this golden Viagra for his father, but he is shocked too because he can see his mother in his car who does sex, who's doing sex with Uncle Vita. The boy is completely shocked. He wants to go blind by looking at the sun. And his sister finds him looking at the sun, and together they decide that the father really needs this golden pill. It's a Chinese golden pill, and they want to get it. They decide to travel to China, find it there, and come back by lunch. They get on a truck, and in China, looking for Viagra, Jabai gets into some adventures, and he understands that he is not as powerful, that the Chinese girl can be stronger. They don't find Viagra, and he and his sister get into the hands of kidnappers from China. But he gets rescued from there by the mom's lover. He takes them back to Kazakhstan, and Jabai, in complete disgrace, sees the father gets into conflict with his mother's lover, and then he has a conflict with the police, and he observed the father starts fighting with the policeman trying to protect the mother. And Jabai is shocked again because the father happens to be strong. The father is the strongest, and you can cry but still remain the real man. The parents get arrested. Jabai comes up with a plan how to save his parents. He gets this mountain onions, squeezes their juice into his eyes, and starts crying very strongly. And his sister, who is mad and aggressive, and the police officer, being so afraid of these inadequate mad children, releases their parents. Jabai believes that men can cry and ladies can get angry because this is not the sign of weakness. So Mountain Onion, this is the very sincere and open movie, a movie with some irony attached to it. This is my second feature. We have independent production here in Kazakhstan. I do the movies with my brother, Diaz Shibanov. He is a cameraman. Been making movies for 10 years out of success. The Hamburger movie, which was a Venetian movie festival, Venice Movie Festival. And what else? What do we have? We have our studio. We have the capacities of our studio. We have some friendly production, but the rental house, they provide us with the equipment for worth of about 20,000 US. The movie's budget is about 100,000. The script is just being written. The draft is almost ready. We are looking for some funding, sales agents, and international co-production if available. This is it. Thank you for your attention. Eldar, thank you very much.
Okay, well, then once more, I will. Okay, it looks very coherent. So maybe I will not ask a question about the project itself, but how can we see kissing?
Excuse me? How can you see kissing?
Yes.
Sure, I can send you the link with my pleasure if you will take a look at that film. Thank you very much. It's my first feature film.
Feature, yes. All right, and when you mentioned that you want to have a co-production with China, On which scale do you imagine that happening?
Yeah, previously we think about it, but now we discuss it. It might be only some production service in China if we will plan to shoot there. But if there will be that restriction still continue, it's difficult to shoot in China. It's closed now. So currently we look at the second option as the Chinatown in Bangkok. We shoot there 10 years ago, so it might also work, and it's cheaper, and it's open for Kazakhstan right now if we will plan to shoot it in the spring. So that's an option.
Yes.
Thank you, Benjamin.
Did you already estimate your budget or any approximation working on the budget? Have you? Yes, thank you for the question. The budget has been calculated or estimated as a draft amount. The initial draft. There may be some minor changes, but if you wish to, I can send you a full budget account. The budget is available. Eldar, thank you. Well, just as a note to the other speakers, if you speak two languages, please give a little bit of a pause as you finish in one language, and then use so that interpreters could switch languages. Just a little bit of a pause. Any other questions or comments to our presenter?
Yes, I would like to ask you, have you ever come across maybe some story which is remotely similar to yours, or it's all a fantasy? Could you imagine that some kids would maybe not go to China to buy Viagra, but to get Viagra, but is it somehow inspired by kids you have observed, or it's just a fantasy film?
You see, it's because it's the I see it as a genre film, but with the author view, and it's a bit my own experience, because I'm still thinking, and I'm growing as a child. When I was a kid, I'm thinking about my sexuality, my gender role, and that's how that part with the Viagra came to me. Because when you're a young kid, every time you think, am I a man? Am I good enough? Am I strong enough? And what is am I good in sexual plan? But that's how it works with me. But that idea that with the gold Viagra for it's fiction, sure. And the trip of that, it's the fiction, but it's based on my some experience which I combine in that story. If I understand you correct.
Эльдар, спасибо вам. Желаю удачи с вашим проектом.
Спасибо большое.
Thank you very much. Good luck with your project. Thank you. Our next project is called Shamal, and the author is Mahan Suleymanova. Please, over to you, Suleymanova. Hello, my name is Suyum. I'm from Bishkek, Kyrgyzstan. I'm basically an honored cinematographist of Kyrgyzstan, the member of the Union Cinematographists. I worked in almost 30 movies. With my debut short films, participated in multiple festivals. I'm the owner of Grand Prix and the award winner of the Hollywood Award for Golden Press. I was born in a family of horse farmers, horse breeders. I also do doubling, act as a double for horse racing, and also participated in the nomadic world games. So I'd like to present this movie, Shamal. This is a social drama, the story of a boy who becomes an orphan with live parents problem of parents, migrants. It's a painful topic for many countries of the world, specifically for the countries of Central Asia, and also for this country. So people migrating for labor often leave their children behind to some close relatives or close friends, sometimes grandparents. According to the official data in Kyrgyzstan, specifically in the southern regions, we have the old age residents, senior citizens, and children. All of the youth immigrated either as part of domestic migration or external migration. So is our main character. He was left to live with his grandma and grandpa, and he kind of used to live in this village with his grandma and grandpa, and left behind in harmony with nature. He even has a friend, this little horse called Shamal. Shamal, as translated from Kyrgyz, means wind. And then one day the boy gets his parents coming back home he has never seen.
And they're taking him from the village to a newly constructed building in the city, and it is really very difficult for the boy to get adapted to it, because he's missing space, wind, and blue sky, and this is the reason for which he decided to run away from his parents and to get back to the village. And his grandpa is dying, and the only friend whom this boy has is this young horse, Shamal. And as a reference, I see the movie Come Back, Mustang, and the white ship, the movie that was shot after the story of Chingiz Aytmatov. And you can take a look at page number 8, because actually there is a reference to the children who live in harmony with nature. You can take a look at page 12 as well. You will be able to understand the range of colors that I imagine for this movie. So the village that I picked up is the village where the boy was raised, and I would like also to show a contrast with the newly constructed building in the city. And I would like to demonstrate the life of the children in the villages. I don't want to use any music because I would like to focus mainly on the natural sounds. Shamal is the story about children, which is intended for the grown-ups, for the adults. The estimated budget is $130,000 US. I've got some partners, is the studio of Ernest Abdul-Jabbarov, as well as Kyrgyz Film, who will provide me with their technical assistance. Right now, we are at the stage when we are writing the script. During 10 years, I managed to learn a lot about our local movie market, but I understand that I need to find an international producer. I do have our national local producer, but also I would also love to work in one team with the international experts, maybe to write the music, maybe post-production, maybe soundtrack production. So thank you very much for your attention, and I will be happy to answer your questions. Thank you, Sue. Very nice timing. Please, distinguished jury members, if you have any questions.
Then I maybe ask you: is there a point of connection with the young audience? Is that a film that you aim to younger audiences as well, or is that a film that because you stated young adults and families, but yes, that's my question. Sorry, it's confused, but that's my question.
Да, для детей, я думаю.
Yes, for children, I think it will be, this movie will be interesting because, in this story, there will be a lot of children, such as, for example, the friends of the protagonist, and also the story will be taking place in the horse stables. And Therefore, in the first episode of this movie, we are showing the games of the children in the villages, in the auls, because they're not using the gadgets, but they're using the they're playing the national games, kokturus, for example. It's, you know, like soccer, like football for them, and they do have their own main heroes like Messi. In Europe, for example, for our children, Kukbure is the national game. And I think that these episodes will be very interesting for the children. Thank you. Ms. Bermers, you wanted to ask a question?
Migration that you mentioned, and to what extent that will play into the plot, but also into the setting.
Она очень тесно сценарием.
You know, it is actually interrelated with the script in general, because the migration topic is not only the problem of those who emigrated from the country, but it is also influencing the families and the children in the families. As I said, they do have parents. However, they feel these children feel like orphans. And also in our country, I know that this is also true for Tajikistan and Uzbekistan, because I was reading through the statistical data of UNICEF. In the villages, we don't have anybody else but very old people and children. And I think that it's also posing a risk to the national security and national safety, because very often these children are facing violence. And we have very bad and very high statistics of mental and physical violence against children who are left behind by their parents, migrants. And, you know, there are also issues of education, culture. There are some specific issues for young girls. You know, I wanted to pass a message across to the viewers to talk about such big and painful topics. What is the end of this story? Is he going to get back to the village, to Shamal, and then what's going to happen then? For the time being, we believe that the boy will get back to the village where his grandpa is dying, and the boy will be riding a horse in the steppe, in the pasture, in the green pasture, because I would like to show that a small horse of Arabic breed, I decided to take it purposefully, deliberately. We usually call them Arabchik. And when they are very small, when they are young, when we brought them to Kyrgyzstan, for example, if they are only 1 year old, 2 years old, or 3 years old, they are yet immature, and usually they are losing during the races, horse races. But when such Arabian horses are 4 years old, they become very powerful and very fast. And we just wanted to draw a parallel line showing that our boy is still small, but when the boy will grow up, he will become also powerful and strong. And who is your Kyrgyz producer? Do you have? You mentioned that you have a local producer already. Yes, we have our own fund, which is called Creative Center. Nurjan Idrisova is a producer in this fund. She's also having a lot of various projects, and she's been a producer for a great number of projects. We think of working together with her. Thank you, Suyum, and have a good luck with your projects. The last but one presentation is called Papa Istanbul. The author is Farisa Tanaeva and Alexander Shmikarin. You will be the last one to present him. Good afternoon. My name is Farisa Tanaeva. I'm the scriptwriter from Kazakhstan, from Almaty, and I have got my education in Almaty as well as abroad. And now I'm getting my PhD in Istanbul in Turkey, and I would like to present the feature film which is titled Father Istanbul. And it's an adventure story about a girl who is desperately in need of father's love. And once the mother of this girl has said that the father decided to leave for Istanbul to make some money there, and Leila is having a lot of fantasies about the father. She's trying to imagine the father who is based in Istanbul, and sometimes she imagines that he's selling ice cream, sometimes he's the instructor of an air balloon, or sometimes she imagines that he is a sultan living in a huge palace. And the reality is that she lives in a small village, and the mother is abused because she's pregnant, but each time she's suffering from violence, and at the same time he's also having some sexual appeal to Leila, to the girl. And once the girl has decided to tell about this sexual violence to her mother, but the mother did not believe her, because she said that it is just another fantasy of her girl who's got a real flight of imagination. And once upon a time, Leila has decided to run away from the family, and she decided to go to Turkey and to reach Istanbul. To achieve this aim, she had first of all to overcome the sexual violence from which she was suffering, and she had to sleep in the street. She's learning how to make money, and she's trying to learn the Turkish language. And the end of the story is that Leila understands that her father lives only in the world of her fantasy, and probably that it's a made-up story of her mother that he left for Turkey. But she is already a grown-up girl, and she's supported by Hassan, who is one of the chefs in a Turkish restaurant. Leila is a very pretty girl, and when she understands the power of her prettiness, she starts behaving like a boy. She's cutting very short her hair. She's throwing away her dresses and skirts, and instead she's dressing up like a boy. The topic of this connection between a girl and a father is because it's one of my pains, because I lost my father at the age of 10, and I did not manage to get enough of my father's love. And as a scriptwriter, I would like to tell about this story. And before that, I was also making 2 short movies about the relationship between a father and a daughter. And I would like this particular movie to be the last one, and then I will probably switch to another topic. Why Istanbul? Because I'm a student in Istanbul, and I speak the Turkish language. I like Istanbul. You know, the story is going to be twofold, because on the one hand, it will be a kind of demonstration of dreams of the girl, which will be bright and colorful. And on the other hand, there will be a very dull and very sad part of her life. Part of the movie is going to be shot in Kazakhstan, and the second part with the fantasies of the girl will be produced in Istanbul. We have the operator with whom we have already been working, and there is also a team with which I was working, the artists, and I would like to become the script scriptwriter because I'm writing a story for myself, and I would like to feel every second of the story. And when I'm writing a script, you know, I can even imagine every part of this movie, and I need the financial support, and I need to find a producer. I would also like to mention that the story is you know, like clay, because you can do it whatever. Father Berlin, Father Paris, Father whatever. Thank you for your attention. Thank you very much. I think that it was ideal timing. Please, are there any comments or questions from the jury members?
Yes, maybe I will then. I have one question about the age of your character, because in you state that she would be 10, but or maybe I'm not aware. But then she goes working in a restaurant. Is that something that, I mean, or is there a passage of time and then she grows up? Or, I mean, it seems to me like a slight inconsistency of the plot.
Thank you very much for your question. No, you've got it absolutely right. She's 10 years old. But this is one of the main problems why she's sleeping in the street, because she is only 10 years old and nobody wants to employ her because it is illegal. And even at the very beginning, when she started working, she was unofficially employed. And Hassan, who by the end of the day was kind of was in the image of her father, he decided to employ this girl in his kebab house, and in exchange, she's working unofficially, but he's just providing a shelter and food to the girl. I would say that she's officially working and she's officially making money.
Thank you.
Okay, I see that our distinguished jury members are probably getting very tired because there are fewer and fewer questions, but we still have one more presentation to run. So Fariza, we don't have any more questions. I wish you good luck with your project, and the final presentation will be made by Alexandra Zhumagalieva on the project Kotulok, the new life. Please, the floor is yours. Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Alexandra Zhumanalieva. I am from Kyrgyzstan, and before I participated in that project, I didn't have anything to do with movies, but I was writing poems and stories. And as a debut scenario, I would like to tell you about the project, which is called Kopolok, the new life, and it is a mysterious drama, and of course we cannot imagine it without any metaphors, without symbols, and this is the reason for which I wanted to imagine it as animation, because Kopolok in Kyrgyz means butterfly, or Saikia, a young lady with the wings, and this is one of the main points in my plot. And actually, the main idea is that this is only the beginning of a new life, and I think that it is of interest for every person. I'm not trying to take a look at what is behind the desk, but it's a very nice opportunity of thinking about this kind of transition and the psychological transition that can be perceived by somebody who has already died. Therefore, the protagonist is Dan, who for the last 10 years was living abroad, and he's got the message that his mother, who abandoned him when he was a child, has died. Therefore, he had to get back to Kyrgyzstan to bury his mother. And this is the reason for which the first part of the movie is a kind of road movie, during which the protagonist, Dan, is meeting two people, a young girl and a boy of 6 years. and they are hitting the road, and they are discussing various issues, such as, for example, the issues of belief, the motherland, etc. And in the second part of the movie, everything is going from feet to head, topsy-turvy. And we understand very well that everything that was happening before and everything that is happening right now is not taking place, not in this world, not in this reality. And the most important thing is that Dan realizes that, first of all, he has already died. He's dead, and he died as soon as he started protecting a girl whom he didn't know. And the girl is who was with him on the road is the girl whom he was trying to protect and was shot dead. Therefore, the second part of the movie is going to be emotionally very much overloaded, and it will probably force the viewers wondering what's happening. But the most important thing is that the protagonist will understand that the role that he was making is a transition from the previous life to a new life. And this transition is taking place when protagonist understands that there is a transition. Secondly, when he actually says that his mother is no longer guilty, and this is the reason for which at the end the new life is acquired by Dan and by the heroine, who is getting the second new life in the world of living persons. First of all, I wanted the viewers to take a different look at the topic of death. And secondly, I believe that just like in the real life, there are boundaries between the reality and the illusion, which are very fragile. They are as fragile as the wings of a butterfly. And right now, the script is still under development. And as a reference, I can mention the Sixth Sense movie. I'm planning to produce this movie in Kyrgyzstan. It will be in the Russian language with some elements of Kyrgyz and English.
The budget is about 55,000 US. Right now, for the project, I will need a producer, a director with whom we could work on this topic. I'd be happy to participate in this project, not just as a scriptwriter, because this movie should be aesthetically very beautiful and poetic, with a huge number of psychological hooks. So thank you for your attention. I'll be happy to take any questions. Alexandra, thank you very much. This is our last presentation. Members of the jury, please. Any questions?
Yeah. Which stage of development for the script are you at? Because it seems you seem to want to hold on some mystery for your story, which I totally respect, but it's hard to figure out exactly all the progression of what would be the different steps. And also, I see a lot of visual element, like a mood board that you put together. Is that something that you did yourself, and how much involvement you want to have on this aesthetical aspect of the film?
Thank you for this question. If I got this right, well, the first part is about the script itself. Right now, I have a good ready treatment. I have clear beginning and clear end, clear description of all of the characters, all of the twists and turns of the story. I'll only need to add a few details. Speaking about the visual or aesthetics elements, it was done by myself. I myself did this in order to convey the aesthetics, to give the feeling of well, unreal, feeling of unreal. This is when this element of unexpectedness happens.
Thank you.
I'll come in for a very brief final comment that I just, you will probably laugh at it. But I think you might, for visual reference, also look at the final scene of Tim Burton's Corpse Bride, where you have a similar image of the transition between death, death, and life, death with the butterflies. Take a look at it. It's a most beautiful scene, I think.
Хорошо, спасибо большое, я посмотрю.
Okay, thank you very much. I'll take a look, definitely. Thank you, Alexander. Good luck with your project. Thank you, Majer. And congratulations to all of us that we are done with the presentations. Project presentation. Now we'll have an opportunity to have a little rest, but not for our jury members, who I believe are going to have about an hour's time just to be able to choose the winners of this project. Just like I said before, these winners, well, it doesn't really mean they won't be able to get offers from the other producers or some of the members of the jury. But I would like to draw some line to basically present these awards. Distinguished members of the jury, well, in our correspondence, technical correspondent, I sent you a link for another Zoom conference. So now you will need to leave this conference and go to this other Zoom. And as soon as you make your decision, you can come back to this Zoom. We'll be here waiting for you in about 1 hour's time. So at about 18 hours and 40 minutes of Almaty time, 1840 Almaty time. So I'll also check the link to make sure it all works. And here, our distinguished audience and participants, you can stay here, you can disconnect and come back in about 1 hour's time. So everyone, thank you. And I'd like to wish productive work to our jury members. Now let's move on to the jury discussion. Welcome to all of you again. Our participants, our trainers, for the long journey that we did together. 19 stories, very different topics, all with its own background. Well, thanks to our members of the jury members expressed interest towards our lab. As far as I understand, they made decision about their winners. So I'd like to address all of the members of the jury. So who would like to announce the results of your voting?
Yeah, we came to a conclusion that it would be Hyungwoo to announce 3 prizes. Is it fine with you? I mean, we proceed to the vote before you arrive, so this is the result.
Mr. Kim, we cannot hear you, unfortunately. You need to unmute yourself.
Okay, for me to announce all 3 projects or just one? 3
I believe the idea was that you will announce all 3 of them, starting from number
really?
3
okay.
to number 1. So we are ready when you are.
There is a lovely saying, les absents n'ont jamais raison, so that when you go, you never have a reason to complain when you come back and the decision has been made.
Yeah, my mistake, right? Okay, actually that is not in a specific order, I guess. Actually, I'm going to just announce, the 3 projects. Actually, all jury members, this lovely. Actually, we had a really good discussion, and then we pretty much thought about all aspects and elements we should consider. So from
Mr. Kim, sorry. So just to double check. So you are not putting them in order from 3 to 1. You're just saying 3 winners, yes?
No,
or there is an order.
I think we have an order, right? I think we have an order.
Oh, we have an order. Okay, from then the third one, for the 3rd, the prize,
3
is the husband Bek Balаева Айжада from
Айзада
Kyrgyzstan.
Бекбалаева. Я вас поздравляю. Проект «Муж».
Yes, and then
Project husband.
Yes, husband.
The very high assessment by our jury. And if you want to say something, please, let's do it later. Let us further continue with the announcement of the winners, please.
And then second, the prize goes to Mountain Onion, Shivanov Elda.
Эльдар Шибанов, поздравляю вас. Проект «Горный луг».
Mountain Onion, Eldar Shivanov.
Then the first,
thank you very much.
The first, the prize goes to Igorine Kagarova Alia.
Ура!
Thank you. Thanks.
Hoorah!
Congratulations. Yes. Done. Congratulations, guys. Elda, good.
Эльдар и другие победители, поздравляю вас.
So once again, thank you very much, all the judges for considering the presentations, for making your decision. Поздравляю наших трех победителей.
I would like to congratulate all our three winners, Aygerim, Eldar, and Ayzada. With all our participants, we will keep in touch regarding the follow-up actions that we are planning to take jointly with our winners. Some of the jury members, would you like to comment anything?
Maybe I would like to comment. No, I mean, I think that this is just a cherry on the top. I think the most important is the lab you have been through, and you know, we come at just at a specific time, which is to assess your presentation, and we don't have a deep knowledge of everything of your project, and I think your project, they are all at very different stages. So this, we saw this prices as encouragement, but it's I think without disclosing the secrecy of our discussions, we have been talking about many projects. So I just want to say that there are very many projects that were not awarded that we really want to give pieces of advice, or would like you to see how you evolve. So this is really to say that there were many projects of interest, and I would like to wish you good luck with your project.
Well said, Mathieu. I totally agree with what you just said. And luckily, the jury was not in the same room. Otherwise, some of us would have bruises. So again, it's the outcome. It's the way it is, and it was a tie. And we've been talking a bit more than we were expecting to. And actually, well, that's the way the conclusion we found. But I hope that we could also stay in touch, because that's the point of this type of event, that we can also connect and network, and please keep us updated about your project. That would be nice. I mean, you feel welcome to. Should I put my email in the chat thing? So that's me, and please feel welcome anytime. And yes, I spoke too much already, so thank you.
Большое спасибо.
Yes, thank you very much. Yes, probably you rightly noted that, of course, there are winners, but there were a lot of very interesting and good, solid projects which do not have only their past, but they will also have their future. And we are calling on you to continue working on these projects and keep your efforts in the filmmaking industry. I don't know, but I think that some of the coaches of this project would like to have a say, and maybe Aygul will also say a few words, but at the end, maybe trainers or the participants would like to have a say. And the problem is that if probably we were sitting somewhere in the room physically facing each other, probably we would have been having some fireworks and loud applause, and I wouldn't love to skip or to lose this very emotional moment. This is the reason for which I'm calling on you to have a say, please. Majer, I would like to say just a few words because actually I have two pieces of information for you, because not all of the winners have already been named, because 5 mentors, 5 trainers who were involved into this project from the very beginning. We have decided on our own behalf to pick up several participants, and we have decided that there shouldn't be, let's say, a winner of this main contest, but we have decided that what we can actually give to our winners, our understanding of these projects, our knowledge of this industry of drama, visual culture, visualization. And therefore, we picked up several projects which we, the 5 of us, we will continue supervising them outside the framework of our today's projects, and we will remain mentors of these several projects. So it was the second message that I wanted to pass across to everybody. And the second message is that indeed it was a very emotional event, because we spent together almost 6 months. I mean, the participants, the trainers, we were regularly meeting with each other. And we were observing how the scripts were changing, evolving, transforming. And it was really very interesting to keep an eye on it. And I believe that one of the main results of this project is that this group of 19 or even a little bit more participants of the project, they turned into a very nice team. The team, which is scattered around 4 countries. However, all of them are really very much inspired by filmmaking industry and the idea of transformation in their cinematography. I believe and I trust that everybody will keep in touch. You will continue your interactions, and I think that in the framework of this project, we managed not only to help you to write 19 scripts, but we managed to kind of put together a kind of institution, the institution that is uniting young and very talented script writers from 4 countries. So on the one hand, I'm really very sorry to part with you, because we love you very much. But on the other hand, we are really very proud. You know, we, the trainers, we keep exchanging various ideas during this event. And I think that everybody actually leaped forward, and you actually arrived at this final meeting with very heavy luggage. And I would like to ask Erken. Erken is our trainer from Kyrgyzstan, because she was also counting the opinion of the trainers concerning the scenarios that we would love to continue supporting. Erken, what is the result of our vote? Erken, we don't hear you. Please unmute your mic. I would like to welcome everybody. Good afternoon, everybody. You know, guys, you made a very long, you passed a very long road, and thank you very much for listening to all our guys with so much patience. I would like to congratulate everybody on the achieved result, and I hope that all of you will stay in cinema making industry. And you know, during the last several seconds, identified that the trainers will support 3 projects. Aruan, protected place, Azizbek Manopov from Uzbekistan, and Mirza Baysanbekov, a woman with limp. So these 3 projects we will continue supporting. So you can count on us. And at the same time, I would like to mention, and all trainers do agree with me, you do have our telephone numbers, email addresses. We are open to all of you for any support, any advice, and we will be happy to do it anytime for you. Congrats. Congrats, because all of you, you've done very well. Thank you. Thank you very much, Erkin. And Majer, I also have one more project, the 4th project that we have decided to support. Arbitrarily, we call it the best script debut because the person was never writing before, never worked in cinema making industry, and for all our trainers, this person is a kind of new opening, and it's Alexandra. So Alexander will remain with us. Okay, thank you very much. Yes, distinguished jury members, distinguished colleagues, it was very pleasant for me to work in your lab because previously I used to write in the chat, and I also expressed the idea that we really need to continue all these efforts. And this mission is not yet over. Therefore, all the guys who were working, and I believe that it is a very serious, very solid work that we've implemented. I think that everybody deserves a round of applause. And more than once, we, the trainers, when we were listening to you, dear guys, we've got convinced that you really grown into a really strong, professional people, and you started very skillfully using your new knowledge, your new skills. And I believe that, of course, it depends on your contribution, and you have to understand it. You have to understand that the work in cinema making industry, the process of writing is really very serious. It's a very serious undertaking, very serious work that requires from you a lot of efforts. And you are contributing your soul. You are investing yourselves into this work. And thank you very much for this, because you've done it. And as trainers have already mentioned before, all of us, our distinguished trainers, we are ready, irrespective of who was shortlisted and who was not. But let's say we all are ready to work with you, because all of you, you are great. And please keep inspired, keep brave, because I think that this period of time in your lives should be one more step forward. And please remember that we are always ready to share any of our experience, and we are always ready to help you at any time. And thank you very much indeed to the organizers of this script lab. And thank you very much to the jury members who managed to find time under such difficult conditions to join us, to talk with the guys, and to learn more about the potential available in cinema making industry of Central Asia. Thank you very much. big hug to everybody, and in the chat I send all my personal contact details, and I'm always ready to discuss your projects or to share any news. Please feel free to call or write me. Thank you. And probably I would like to say just a couple of words. I'm sorry for the barking dog. I will try to be very short and fast. Thank you very much, UNESCO, for organizing such a regionally important project. It is really very important for the whole region of Central Asia, not only for the young guys, because they are networking now, but also for us. It is important to understand what the young people are thinking about, what they are interested in. All of these are very valuable and interesting bits and pieces of information which inspire us. For example, definitely this information inspires me, and I also hope that this laboratory will continue. I'm not just saying that it will be supported by UNESCO only. We hope that there will be some other opportunities and to get some concrete results. Probably such programs should last for several years, let's say 3 or 4 years. And then we will create a kind of sustainable environment in which the youth will be pretty confident that they have mentors, they have professionals who are taking care of them. And I hope that we will be able to build this environment. And you, UNESCO, you arrange this environment, and probably it's up to us now to continue and to continue thinking how we can continue this laboratory maybe next year or in 2 years from now. But the most important thing is that all of us, we are united by this possibility, by this situation. And I would like to wish all the guys a lot of success and good luck. I think that all the projects are very different, but don't be discouraged to play the role of a scriptwriter, because in the majority of cases we've heard your personal stories that you've lived through, and just be courageous. And I would like to incentivize you, just stand up behind the camera and do your films. I think that it's only the beginning of our acquaintance and friendship, and see you again, and hopefully tete-a-tete. Thank you. And probably I will also have a final word, just one word. Thank you very much to UNESCO for this lab that it took place in our lives and in the lives of all our participants. I think that it's a very nice stimulus for all the guys to continue working on their projects, and I will be looking forward to the finished projects, and my studio is ready to render any type of support in the implementation of your project. And thank you very much for to the jury members for your very precise comments. I believe that it is something invaluable, really, and invaluable input in the growth and further evolution of our authors, because we need authors to have a good cinema. So thank you very much, and I congratulate you on the end of this undertaking. Yeah, it's really very difficult to say farewell, but we have to. I would like to congratulate one more time everybody who has got some awards or have received some additional support from our trainers. I would also like to take an opportunity and to thank everybody who assisted in the implementation of this project. I mean, our sponsors and the people who provided technical support of our meetings, the people who helped us with simultaneous interpretation, written translation, our trainers, our jury members who were present together with us today. And thank you very much to all our participants for the trust in themselves, confidence in us, and the trust, the projects that they entrusted us, because it's like a baby. I understand that it's very difficult to ask anybody to judge your baby, and therefore we are really very proud that you wanted to work with us. Again, thank you very much. If you are located somewhere in the same town, you can try to get together and to drink for it. And of course, we hope so much that your professional networking will only be enhanced, and we will be keeping an eye on your follow-up success. Thank you very much. May I say just a couple of final words? Thank you very much to everybody for this part of the project. Our project is not yet over. We will continue it, and the lion's share of this project, the lion's share of this idea has been completed today. And I would say that it is actually ending on a very high note. And thank you very much, young girls and boys. I believe that everybody has got so much satisfied with the result of your work. And thanks a lot to the trainers who were with us during 6 months. It was a slip of the tongue because I said 6 years, and looks like we're going to collaborate during 6 years. Therefore, we created a microcosm of Central Asia, and I would like to express my feeling of gratitude to the colleagues from jury who expanded our microcosm and who have seen this life which continues. And thank you very much indeed for your proposals, for your email addresses, for your readiness to continue helping our young professionals. And of course, I would like to thank everybody for your time, for a piece of your spirit that you contributed in this training lab, in the judgments of jury. And I think that this particular part of the project really created this micro environment, and it demonstrated that culture is actually uniting people.
Basically, all the way from Europe to Korea, and for everyone here in Central Asia, this project united us all. This project carries some emotional component for us, and I think this is important. It's important so that you, as young professionals in your career path, you will know each other, work together, and support each other. This is really valuable for the region, so that this region, Central Asia, would get some renown globally. Thank you very much to all of you. Goodbye. And soon we'll see you again. With some of you would like to continue this journey, continue working. For all the others, goodbye. Good luck to all of you. Good health. And should you have any questions, you can address those to Majer and myself. Thank you.